yourself, villain! Ha-ha! Your superpowers are no match for me, Coon and friends!
Coon and friends? Ah, shit, we got the wrong game. Everybody switch games, we're playing superheroes now. Coon friends! Yeah!
This is going to be a very schizophrenic
You just keep fucking
podcast.
up, man.
I keep fucking it up. Okay, you folks. Okay, you're gonna hear in a minute us start to talk about the Ubisoft press conference, and unfortunately, I have to. Okay, so when I was getting ready to do this, I was watching IGN's replay of the Ubisoft press conference, and it started with. For Honor, right? Basically,
Yes.
it cut in right at the beginning there, and I thought, oh, they just chopped out a bunch of the pre-show, right?
Turns out they started with showing us a game.
They started, yeah. God damn it! I'm so glad you reminded me of this, John, because not only do
I was sitting here going, I was like, I feel like we didn't talk about something,
Yeah.
and then they showed the sizzle trailer at the end. I was like, wait, we didn't talk about South Park.
Yeah. Okay, so not only do we have to talk about South Park, but then I'm going to have to go back and just revise some of the things that I said at the end of the part you're just about to hear. So, folks, I'm sorry, but holy shit, Ubisoft. I forgot one of the bigger mic drop moments of E3 was that Ubisoft came out, and before any of this other shit happened, Tyler came out, she was like, hey, welcome everybody, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, they're making a sequel to South Park Stick of Truth.
And it's not being made by Obsidian.
It's not being made by Obsidian. Now, a lot of people, it's funny because a lot of people out there when, okay, we'll get into this in just a second, but a lot of people out there in the chat, they're upset, the people who like Obsidian,
Yeah.
which I you know, I'm medium about them these days because
Yeah.
I really like Stick of Truth, and I
Yeah.
thought Pillars of Eternity was a good game,
Yeah.
right? Still not, blah, blah. But I feel like Stick of Truth's strengths,
yeah.
and this is not necessarily a knock against Ubisoft, it's more praising Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
Yes.
The strength of South Park Stick of Truth was rooted not so much in the individual gameplay elements, which were very good.
Yes, they were
But
very
what
well
really
done.
pushed that to like my number 2 game of last year, behind Dark Souls, obviously, but was the fact that the humor was just it was so good, and it was so South Park, and it was referential to all the things. It was, in my opinion, the greatest licensed video game in history because it was like playing the show,
Yes.
and it had all of the humor of the show, and it had all this great stuff. The combat was fun. It kept moving along, kept changing things up, and then they announced. They brought out Trey Parker and Matt Stone, who seemed honestly very confused about why they were even
Well,
there.
actually, I thought it was interesting because they originally, after they made the first game, someone said, "Oh, are we ever going to get a sequel?" And they said, "No, fuck no." They
Right.
said, "No, We're glad we did it,
Right.
but we never want to do that again because it took years off our life."
Yes.
And then here they're like, "Yeah, so we said that. We're sorry." Because we realized after we said it, that we were fucking liars, which is funny because that's actually kind of their entire career.
Right.
They do something and then like, yeah, that was fucking terrible. I don't want to do that ever again. Hey, buddy,
You wanna
what's
do
up?
more of that?
You want to do it again? Fuck yeah.
So from this trailer, it seems okay. Not only is this a sequel to South Park: Stick of Truth, but there's a great turn in this trailer.
Yeah.
The beginning is very much Stick of Truth, and then like halfway through, the main characters realize that this isn't a fantasy game anymore.
Yeah, they're changing games.
This is a superhero game. So they all move, and then they come back as the Coon and Friends with Mysterion and, like all that. And we got Professor Chaos, and it looks like they're still talking about the new kid.
Well, you are still the new kid.
You're still the new kid from the previous one.
And they actually stated when they were talking that in this game, because it's a superhero story, and
Yeah.
because superheroes are all about the origin story, you actually get more of the new kid's backstory.
Oh, okay. Very cool. And the name is South Park: The Fractured But Whole. And I'd like to thank Trey Parker, Matt Stone, for giving the chat on Rage Select a whole new reason to start talking about my anus again. Even the trailer for Fractured But Whole came out. So
It's very obviously a play on Avengers, Age of Ultron,
Right.
And that whole thing.
Right. So it looks fantastic. Here's the only thing. Here's the only thing that makes me a little bit worried.
Okay.
I'm not necessarily even worried that this is like what Ubisoft went Montreal or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Doing it, or I don't know. Well, one of the other studios, one of the Ubisoft studios, is doing it, not Obsidian, right? Because actually, they were on the PC conference talking about how they're working on Pillars of Eternity, right?
Yeah. Obsidian came out when someone asked them about it, and they're like, "No, we're fucking excited for it. We had other stuff we had to do and couldn't do it, and the fact that someone else is going to make it, we're excited."
Right. The only thing that is a little bit not worrying, but it's just a small twitch in my brain, right?
Okay.
Was South Park Stick of Truth basically ran down every joke from almost every episode of South Park ever, right?
Sort of, yeah.
And this, I wonder, like, because that was running down stuff that was happening in the season, like before, all the way up to the game's release, right?
Yeah.
This, it's like, well, they already used all that. And I have no doubt that Trey Parker and Matt Stone can write new stuff. It's just that one of the best parts about South Park was that it was so referential to the entire history of the show that I wonder if they're going to be rehashing a lot of those same characters.
I think you might see a few things that are rehashed, but rehashed in a different way.
Right.
And there might be, because there are some characters that have had multiple jokes, and we only got one facet of those jokes.
Okay, yeah,
so
I can
we'll
see
probably
that.
get the other facet.
I guess for me, it's just like, like, again, going back to something that I talk about a lot here is doing the same thing a second time and having diminishing returns. Spoiler: if you haven't played South Park Stick of Truth, just stop your life and go play it, because it's a fucking awesome game. But like, there's a spoiler. There's a level in there where you totally do the Lemmy-Winks thing and go into somebody's butthole. And
I don't think we'll get that again.
Well, the thing is that only works one time.
Yeah.
Right. And then later on, okay, not as much. You know what I do wonder? I know there's a lot of criticism of people who wanted to play Stick of Truth as a girl last time. I wonder if they're going to make any kind of concession to that.
Yeah, I mean they might.
Yeah. But yes, this looks incredible. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say outside of what we just said about it.
Yeah.
But it does mean that I have to, in a weird way, go back and reassess my excitement level for Ubisoft, because we're recording this several days afterwards. I've been watching conferences out the yang. This was probably the best thing. Well, I don't know. For Honor was so good, and I'm excited for Ghost Recon. I maybe put this between For Honor and Ghost Recon.
Yeah, I could go with that.
Because it is a sequel, and I really love the first one. I'm actually very excited for a second one. But this definitely solidifies that on the day zero of E3, that Ubisoft has EA blown out of the water. Like, you can take your Battlefront and have your Battlefront. And Battlefront, I'm excited for it, right? But I'm more excited for South Park Stick of Truth 2 for whatever reason than I am for Star Wars Battlefront.
The fractured butthole.
The fractured butthole. So, yeah. When you guys go back and you listen to this, keep in mind the fact that for whatever reason, I kind of forgot that this was there.
Well, I can tell you why. Again, you mentioned it earlier. You were refreshing yourself with IGN's feed, and IGN's feed cuts in after the reveal.
Right.
And they don't even talk about it.
Yep.
So
yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of like licensing issue where Ubisoft said that you can't have that. You have to start like after that or something like that.
The GameStop stream had it.
Oh, it did.
That's because I actually went to the IGN one first when I was going to watch it, because you had told me IGN had them all.
Right.
And I was like, all right, well, and I was like, oh, it's starting me in the middle of this. Fuck this shit. I'm going back to GameStop.
Right.
Or GameSpot.
GameSpot. Yeah. So yes, South Park Stick of Truth. Totally awesome.
Yeah.
I hope that they stick to. I hope they don't try to make it bigger.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that the first one was like 10 hours long.
I think it's going to be a different style of game.
You think so?
I don't think it's going to be like different style. Like the play mechanics are going to be different, but I think it's going to be less fantasy and more superhero actiony.
Yeah. I wonder. Okay. Well, seems really interesting. Also, Professor Chaos. I love Professor Chaos. So, all right. So with that, then you're going to now hear a very strange start of me talking about how much of another type of asshole I am. So you can just add the current asshole that I am for forgetting about South Park onto the existing asshole that I am for losing a recording.
It is truly fractured butthole.
I am the biggest butthole of them all today. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a sack of crap.
He speaks the truth.
I am the biggest tool on the planet. Nobody is a worse human being than I am.
It's a goddamn travesty.
Because I turned around and John and I welcome everybody to Ubisoft, the second half of day 0 of E3. John and I were talking for about 30 minutes. I turned around to see how long we had been recording and noticed that I didn't actually hit the button to start recording.
And that was the funniest goddamn 30 minutes of my entire life.
Your head would have exploded. I mean, like, you know, it was. We were going to get an Emmy, even though this isn't even on TV. It was,
and you lost it.
And
it's
a Grammy. You had that great vocal, that a cappella rendition of that Beyonce song. I don't know. Yeah, so welcome, everybody. I'm a big pile of crap. Hang my head in shame. I'm sorry, John. You're the one who's been most affected by this. It is my full-on bad. So
you heard it here, folks.
That is my full-on bad. Welcome to the second half of Day Zero of E3. We're talking about Ubisoft, and you're going to have to excuse us because we're basically just going to immediately turn around and say the exact same things that we said before.
Or we're going to forget and then be like, didn't I say that earlier? And it's going to turn out it was in the part that we didn't record.
Exactly. So, Ubisoft, a company that I'm always a little confused about. But in any case, this year, as with all years, Aisha Tyler is hosting the Ubisoft press conference. And
I'm going to be honest. I think she was less annoying this year than she was the previous couple of years.
I think I honestly think that a lot of that probably came from the fact that I feel like the E3 press conference this year can be divided into two distinct categories.
Oh.
People who understand how to move a conference along with multiple mic drop moments, and people who do not know how to move a conference along and will spend a long time nattering on about a lot of things, kind of like EA did yesterday, and like some other people will eventually. Square. Ubisoft and Microsoft and Sony, they know how to move some shit along. Like, I feel like they looked at the Microsoft press conference last year where they were just like, game. In fact, you know, I think that last year I was actually complaining about how fast Microsoft was going.
Yeah.
But I feel like my tolerance has been raised to the point where whenever, like, I'm starting to get even a little bit irritated when they bring out a developer to do his little shtick, right? Where I'm just like, dude, just show me the game. Like, show me the game and then I'll make a decision. I don't need you to tell me about all these different things. But Aisha Tyler is here, and I'm kind of on record as not really liking her all that much.
I think she's a fine actress. You know, her comedy's kind of.
I'm not a fan of her stand-up.
It's weird. Like like there are times where I was like, that's funny, and then there's times where I'm like, that's not. Okay, I'm bored.
I mean, you know,
it's weird.
No offense, and it's nothing. You know, nothing. No offense to Aisha Tyler and whatever.
I think she's a fantastic actress. So.
I think that she tries too hard in her ad hoc stand-up comedy.
Okay.
I think that it just seems like she's always got something to prove.
Right.
But speaking of people who have something to prove, Ubisoft this year, I actually feel like she came out on stage, and the first thing that she did was a little bit of a more, you know, I haven't watched the Ubisoft Assassin's Creed apology video or whatever it was. They put something out like that?
I don't remember.
Okay. Somebody was asking me at one point that they like put out something that was just like, yeah, our bad. We fucked it all up.
I don't think they ever did that.
You know, I could have sworn that somebody told me that. Anyway, if they didn't, then she kind of was.
Yeah.
Albeit in a slightly backhanded fashion. I feel like I've seen developers. I mean, like Microsoft with the Xbox One, and a few other places in E3 over the years, where developers have come out to basically said like, "My bad. I understand. You guys had complaints about this thing that happened, and we've listened and we have addressed them." This was a little bit it was just a little bit too snarky for my taste. Like,
yeah.
Aisha, we have I mean, I know you're not the CEO of EA. I know you're not the CEO of EA.
You're not CEO of Ubisoft either.
CEO of Ubisoft either. You're not even a developer at Ubisoft, right? But I mean, you were in Watch Dogs, which hang your head. But I feel like Ubisoft has a little bit of groveling to do with me, quite frankly. I mean, you know, they're like, hey, here's some free DLC for games that you don't really care about all that much, or for a game that you've already put down a long time ago
and hated us for.
Right. So I kind of wish that they would have had a little bit more with that. And then outside of that, generally speaking, she did a good job. You know what? There was one other thing to really note about Aisha Tyler before we actually move on to the games, and that's the fact that I thought it was really interesting how most of the time she seemed to be playing more to the camera, to us that were watching, as opposed to playing to the audience. Like there were actually a bunch of times where I kind of felt bad for the people in that theater because she's just walking up to a camera, completely ignoring all of them.
And I think that that's deliberate because in the past, previous years, and we talked about this a little bit when we didn't record. Joel McHale, he
John just flipped me off when he said that.
Joel McHale, who was fucking god awful at hosting the Ubisoft stuff, would play to the crowd, but the crowd would not give him the reactions he wanted, and it was very clear he didn't know how to handle that. Like, he'd be like, oh, shit's happening. What's going on? Oh, the crowd's not reacting to my false surprise. So, fuck it. I don't care.
I kind of remember that vaguely. Like, I have a vague recollection. Because, I mean, she's been doing this for 4, 5 E3s at this point?
That was 3 at this
I thought
point.
It was 3 last year. I thought
maybe
anyway.
it's 4. I don't know. But she's very much like, she'll make a joke, and if the crowd doesn't get it, she's just like, I don't care, I'm moving on.
At least 4, right? Because we got this one last year. She was by herself. The year before was when she was with that jack off from the YouTube.
Yeah.
And then she was the year before that. I believe was the first time that she was.
No, I thought her and Tobuscus was the first time.
Oh, maybe it was. Okay, I don't even really remember Joe McHale. I mean, what were they even announcing at that E3?
Laser tag,
Far Cry 2, laser tag.
Yeah,
that's already a thing.
Like not in game, but like an actual physical product.
Oh shit! Yeah, I remember that now. Holy crap on a stick! Everybody knows, John. Everybody knows that Photon is the real shit.
Yeah.
All right, you get the helmet; it's way better. Nobody ever got. No, that's too dark. But yeah, she was fine. Especially when you consider some of the other hosts that we've had this particular year.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. If Ubisoft kind of had a lot to prove because I think we talked about this briefly as we sussed it out. I don't think that they've had any real major AAA tentpole releases this year so far.
No.
Pretty sure it was The Crew, and then there've been a few things here and there. But
there was The Crew, Far Cry, and then nothing came out this year.
I mean,
small stuff.
Assassin's Creed Chronicles. I'm trying to think of anything else that came out, and I can't really remember. Not even like a Child of Light or a whatever. But if they wanted to get my attention, and I criticize people from time to time about forgetting in the video game industry when they've been burned. Like, I've been burned enough that when people are like, Aliens Colonial Marines is going to be the greatest game of all time, I'm like, we'll see, Yeah. And it's not because I don't want it to be good. It's that I'd rather keep my expectations in check and then play the game and know whether or not it's any good.
Yes. I agree with you completely on that.
These fucking French fuckers, they got me good and fucking
excited.
Yeah. So this trailer started, and we got a bunch of there's a couple. There's a pre-rendered. This is the pre-rendered one at the very beginning. We got a bunch of knights. They're dirty. We got a bunch of barbarians or Vikings, and they're all smelly. Look, they didn't even. Oh my god! I just realized this. When I'm watching this right now. Okay. Let's go through this trailer. None of the Vikings have horns on their helmets.
No.
Somebody that's making this game is a nerd about authenticity.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's also kind of played out in the fact that not only do we have Vikings and knights, but we also have samurai.
Yeah.
And those motherfuckers are like armored up. It's not,
like correctly armored up.
Yeah.
And not in the exaggerated armor.
Right. And in this trailer, this 4-minute trailer may be more brutal than I'm trying to think of the last game that I played that had Bloodborne, but this is some like hardcore. I kind of want a TV show based on this.
You mean like Vikings?
Well, is Vikings like this in the level of?
Well, I mean, I don't think it has this much action, but yeah, it's like pretty. Like I remember, like it's pretty good though.
I think that. Okay, so here's the thing: is like when I'm watching these guys move and they're attacking and stuff, like everybody's big, right? And everybody's swinging their big ass weapons, and their big ass weapons seem to have weight. Their big ass shields seem to have weight, and it's just a really awesome trailer. And this is For Honor, and again, fuck, man.
Looks really good.
Fuck, man. Like, God damn it. I don't,
So there's 3 factions, which we already mentioned: samurais, Vikings, and knights.
Yep.
It's yeah.
It's
I mean,
just-
the trailer looks really badass and how it switches between the groups. And,
Yep.
And like if
just-
the trailer alone wasn't just awesome, which it is.
Yeah.
It then walks out
A man who is really who gets to he gets the Rage Select Award for like best dude on stage at E3. Jason
Vanderberg
Oh, it's not okay.
or Vander Badass.
It's been a long time since I've seen the Dawson. I wasn't sure whether he'd put on a little weight and dyed his hair. But
No, it's
no. This
Vanderberg.
guy's great. Motherfucker walks out with a cane.
And I swear to God,
A cane.
I swear to God, that cane probably has a sword in it.
That's
how badass he is.
It probably does have a sword in it. He's got his rings and he's got his fucking this little metal
Long
bracelet,
hair and his beard.
His beard. Dude looks like he just stepped directly. Like they plucked him out of the Renaissance Fair,
and made him put on modern clothing.
or in all honesty, maybe like panhandling downtown in Austin. But
Yeah.
whatever. But dude, like I like him because he's not the clean cut face of E3 that we generally tend to see.
Well, it's like not only that, like he's just like, you come out and you fight and your weapons have weight, and when you drive them into your foe, like it's just like he's speaking in a very slow and methodical pace, and it's just like tell me more.
Yeah, no, he's all over it. He's obviously extremely excited to be making this game.
Yeah.
And like I appreciate that. It really comes through, and it really does carry over to my own excitement level.
Yes.
And you know what the thing? And here's another thing. I like to just I like to give props where props are due. Right.
Yeah.
Ubisoft could totally and completely have shown that trailer, had this guy talk, and then moved
left.
on to the next
Yeah.
thing, and I would still be excited. But no. Then they showed actual gameplay of this. And you know what's interesting about this, too?
What's that?
Let's make sure that when the gameplay comes up. I don't even think this was like, I don't even think when they showed this gameplay that they slathered a big pre-alpha footage over it.
Yeah, no.
Or beta footage. Or I don't even think sometimes footage will have the like, not indicative of final product or whatever on it. No, they were just like, yeah, fuck it. So we start out with a team. This is a 4-on-4 multiplayer action game, third-person multiplayer action game. We start out with a knight and his knight group and a bunch of knight scrub AI guys that are running around, and they all kind of clash in the middle of this like medieval thing. And on the other side, I guess we've got samurai guys, and from there, I mean, I cheated a little bit on this because I caught a little bit of the guy Vanderbeek talking about Vanderberg. Sorry, I should not keep making that joke. People are actually going to think he's James.
Just go
Vanderbeek.
with your name that you were using when we were recording.
Vander Badass.
Yeah. It fits.
So, okay. So here's the first thing. I'm going to go out full on limb conjecture.
Okay.
Right? And we talked about this before, right? I think this is a MOBA.
It could be.
I think this is a MOBA because they've got these groups of AI-controlled guys that look a lot like creeps. You've got like a smaller team, a 4-on-4 team, and it looks like those creeps seem like they are kind of deadlocked. Like, and the
They're
first
going
thing,
somewhere. Yeah.
yeah, that they're moving down a lane, right?
Yeah.
And that the first thing that the guy who's playing the knight does when he comes out is he starts attacking the actual creeps themselves before another player comes up, and then he goes off to get into PvP combat. So we'll talk a little bit more about this before, but we should talk about the actual PvP combat itself.
I actually was really impressed with this because, first of all, there's a scene of one guy fighting 2 soldiers or 2 other like players,
Right.
And he's holding his own, and then his buddy runs up and helps him out a little bit,
Right.
Which is actually something we saw in the trailer,
Yeah.
happen, which I thought was really awesome.
Yeah. So I actually looked at a little bit of footage about this, and it looks like I was watching some footage, and just for the sake of reference, it seems like the control scheme for this seems to rely a lot on where your weapon is placed.
Yeah.
Like they said specifically that the right stick is going to be used to move. And when you look at the trailer or when you look at this gameplay footage, and if you pay attention to the hands of the people that are playing, they're using the right stick to move in different ways. And it seems like almost like a game. I really like this style of combat.
Yeah.
Stuff like Bushido Blade, or I know that there was a whole community that was built up around the Jedi Knight multiplayer.
Yeah, Jet from Jedi Out to Outcast or whatever.
Yeah. And
I was big on that.
I mean, like, or even in single player, like Dark Souls, or I mean, that's the multiplayer in Dark Souls, right?
Yeah.
Or it's like that's what it kind of reminds me of, because it's like two people, and what they seem to be doing more than anything is jockeying for a certain type of position. That it's not about slamming the attack button on somebody else; it's about finding the right place to attack. Where if you're got your,
It's like an actual sword fight.
right, exactly, like where it's not a fight where people spend 5 minutes hammering on each other. It's a fight about who basically gets the winning hit.
Yeah.
And as we just saw in the footage that we're watching, the first guy, he got a hell of a hit.
Yeah.
So this last part, we're watching him and this guy go one-on-one. And, you know, it seems like we've got, when we're looking at the way their hand placement is, they've at least got an upper stance and then a mid stance. And that some of this is going to depend on how your blocking is going to be related to that stuff. It looks like there's a lot of different moves. Like, you know, we've seen rolling over. We've seen kind of like a shoulder charge.
And it looks so fluid.
Yeah, it looks really fluid. And I really like the idea of playing a game like this, especially a multiplayer game. And I don't know if it's just me. I mean, you know, where your ability to win is firmly rooted in your skill with the game. That it's skill versus skill, and not the fact that you've got a better gun or a better sword or a better thing. I guess one of the things that pisses me off about Dark Souls is the fact that when somebody comes in with some huge tiered weapon, I'm just like, well, I can't even defend against this, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even have any defense. But the fact that everybody's on the same way, or I don't know, it may be different, because there do appear to be different classes.
Yeah, like there's the, I mean, obviously there's the guy who just has a sword,
right?
Or in the case of the Vikings, it's the guy has an axe.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's people with shield and sword. Then I think there's a third class. There's a third.
I've seen there was a few in the cinematic trailer that were pole arms.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. And I like the way that all of that happens. And then I also like the fact this motherfucker just chops his head off. But what I think is really interesting is that when the camera zooms back off of this, I think you can see that the previous characters that have died have actually respawned.
Yes.
And I mean, I don't know if it's just for E3 stage demo, but they're fighting down with what I would call the creeps in this lane.
Yes.
So I really, really like the idea of this being a MOBA.
Yeah, it's a MOBA without any like special attacks. It's all just sword fighting. I'm down for that.
Yeah.
And I have friends that I know are like big into actual sword battles and love Bushido Blade and actually like do like are part of like clubs or whatever where they go on the weekends and actually have like matches with kendo sticks and stuff, like actual sword battles and practice and shit like that.
Right.
And this game, like immediately I'm thinking this is a game I'm going to be playing with them a lot.
Probably, yeah. So, yeah, For Honor. The other thing I was saying before that I think was worth mentioning is that I like the idea of this being a MOBA, because in a traditional MOBA, at least from the ones that I've played, it seems like there's a lot of emphasis on chipping down the other person and then executing special maneuvers. Whereas here, it seems like full-on one-on-one combat. Now, I think that the only potential danger, because I don't ever like to just sugarcoat and get everybody hyped about one thing.
Yeah.
There is a potential danger here that unless they have some very specific like tiered matching systems, if it is just all about skill and it's your first time playing and you run into a match with people who have already played it before, to quote South Park, you're going to have a bad time, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm hoping that they have like a single player campaign of some kind, or you play as like each faction or whatever, and do like a kind of a story where it's teaching you the mechanics of the game,
or even just a match with bots, to get you ready for it, or even a co-op match. You can even see versus computer, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, this one totally 100% on my radar.
This one to come out of the gate from Ubisoft is the first thing they showed us.
Yep.
I was just like, well, this is probably one of the better things I've seen at E3 so far.
I haven't looked over every single announcement yet, but I'd be willing to say
probably in my top 5.
Probably in my top 10, maybe even in my top 5 of things that happened. And motherfucker, that's in a year with like Dark Souls 3 and Metal Gear Solid 5 and Fallout fucking 4, for fuck's sake.
Yes.
This is a lot of alliteration, but yeah. This guy has got me hyped up. I want him to be my new dad, and I'm just kidding. He could be my other dad. I want a developer interview with this motherfucker.
Yeah,
like,
I mean too.
He's I wish that I could hype people up as much as this guy's hyping people up. He also got some of the better reactions from like him just as a person, not a game, not an announcement, but just him as a dude was able to whip that crowd.
Yeah,
out,
again, it was the way he was talking. It just like it was like, yeah, he is rallying the troops. I am ready to go to war for this man.
Yeah, I think you know what I think actually happened. I think that they unthawed him. I think that might be what happened. He was a Viking. He slipped into a time portal. He got thawed out, and he was like, "What is this world that I live in?" And they were like. And then he's been searching for years. He's finally found video games, and he's like, the thrill of battle again, right?
And he's like, let's make it more realistic.
Yep. So with that, we're moving on. We spent like a good 15, 20 minutes talking about that.
Because it was awesome.
It was really, really awesome. No, one last thing. Okay, I will say I'm giving Vander Badass -5 points for one thing.
Oh?
One thing. I don't know if you remember this. I only remember because I wrote it down because I watched it again. At the very end of the thing, he's up there on stage and he says, I know you're all excited to play For Honor, and you totally can at our booth here at E3. And it was like, oh, fuck you, man. Like, I was expecting... That was the kind of mic drop moment to be like, because we've got an open beta starting next week, right? You know? Because he paused deliciously about... I know you want to play.
And it's available digitally on the PS4 starting now.
Right. Oh, my God. If that had happened, then as long as that game wasn't garbage, then I could have said that, like, there's a lot of those other announcements that I was excited about that would have gotten downgraded from, like, go from 0 to new IP to I'm super excited about that IP to when the fuck can I get it to right fuck it now, fuck your conference, fuck the rest of your conference. I'm going to go play from For Honor.
No, but he didn't. It was you can go play it in their booth.
Right. So in a score of 1 to badass million, I'm taking off a few points for being a dickweed about it.
He's 5 points short of badass million.
Yes. All right. Well, next up, let's see. What do I got here? Next up, why is my mouse not working anymore? I've only had the same Microsoft mouse for like 20 years, John.
Yeah.
I don't know why it doesn't work anymore. Next up, we are getting some minor announcements, expansions to 2 of the things that Ubisoft has already had out.
Yeah.
The first is for The Crew, which I think we established yesterday that neither one of us have really...
Yeah, I haven't really delved into it too much. I played it a little bit, but I was just kind of like, it's not really doing it for me.
I'm kind of excited about this because, let's see, motorcycles...
Monster trucks,
and then some things called summits, which seem like they're going to be... They said that they described them as ongoing championships. I just want to drive the monster truck across the United States.
I want to flip a monster truck like that one did just in the trailer.
You just want to do a front flip with the monster truck?
Yeah.
But like, my question about The Crew is, when are they going to integrate those cars where the hood and the back come up and then they spin around? Or like, wait a minute, I just realized in Grand Theft Auto 3, you could put like manually operated hydros on your car, right?
Yeah.
Or was that am I thinking of Saints Row?
I think you're thinking of Saints Row.
Where you could like use the right stick to do your hydros?
Yeah.
Where the fuck is that? The Crew. Anyway,
different culture.
Coming this November, The Crew
Wild Run.
I think if
Expansion.
you care about The Crew, fine. It's great.
Yeah, it's more great stuff.
Yeah.
Then comes a trailer that's there's a cat with a bandana.
Yep.
Shooting a golden gun.
Yep.
Riding a unicorn.
Yep. A tattooed unicorn.
A tattooed unicorn that's breathing fire.
Yep.
With a triple rainbow behind it.
Yep. So here's the thing. I'm going to say that you were, like, the amount of time this trailer goes on, I skipped a little bit forward, but you've pretty much been describing exactly what was being seen in the trailer as it was seen. And I was like, oh, shit. Yeah. And like, I don't know what this is, but I'm into it. It's not taking itself seriously at all.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
And then it was like, oh, it's an expansion for Trials. Okay. All right.
It's awesome level max.
I'm just
Trials Fusion.
A little bit less excited than I was at the beginning of the trailer because, you know, Trials is good and everything, but like I don't really get into it quite as much as some other people do.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I wish that was a different game. I would play that game if this was an Adult Swim game that Ubisoft was publishing. Okay, so from there, we moved on directly to yawn level max, The Division.
Hey,
Time to talk about The Division.
I'm tuned out.
I think that
No
Aisha,
offense to anybody who's actually excited about that.
Aisha, oh fuck! I hit backwards on my browser. Aisha Tyler actually spent like a good 3 or 4 minutes talking about how excited she was for The Division.
Didn't she say she like played it last year or something like that?
Yeah, she said she played it.
And then they're like, the developers are like, you weren't supposed to say that because
yeah, big lady boner, blah 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 blah. And they go in, and we're actually seeing a gameplay demo, and this starts out with the Dark Zone. I don't know why it's called the Dark Zone. It's just basically
it's New Year's Day.
It's a place in New York, and they're like, "Let's go to the Dark Zone." I guess that's Times. Not is that Times Square?
Yeah, Times Square.
Times Square.
Yeah.
So, Aaron was telling me, because he watches a little bit more about this than I do, that, and I wish that they would tell me this about this. This is a straight up, full on, loot driven RPG.
Yes.
Like your characters are going to level up. You're going to get powers. In fact, they even talk about they're doing that thing that I'm not a huge fan of the fake voice comms where they're talking the way that nobody talks in a multiplayer game ever. I mean, we don't
want to aggro those guys.
Yeah, no, I mean they're all calm and they're talking like they're professional multiplayer people, whereas when I tend to get into a game, it's usually one of two things. It's either nobody talks at all, or somebody is screaming at you about how terrible you are at this game and go fuck yourself. But then I don't play it with a lot of friends. So so they go into this area, they got to put on their masks, they've got some guys in here. I think the interesting thing about this, you got some weird these guys are taking selfies with bodies or something.
Yeah.
Another crew walks up, and there seems to be some hesitation about, like, are these guys going to open fire on us? In fact, this whole gameplay segment seems to have to do with fucking people over.
Yeah.
Right? In the way that you can't trust anybody in multiplayer. And it's like, well, without a sense of really how difficult this is when they're fighting these guys, why would you just every time you see another crew shoot them up, right? Like, why even take a chance? Because as we see in this particular trailer, it doesn't work out super well for these guys at the end. In any case, what we're seeing here is very much kind of a third-person shooter. You got a third-person cover-based shooter. We've seen little rolly grenades before, et cetera, et cetera. I'm actually probably not going to spend a lot of time talking about this because it's not very much different than what we've seen before.
Yeah, it feels like we've seen the same playthrough 2, maybe 3 years in a row. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like I don't feel like they're showing me anything new, and the fact that I don't like I sort of know what the story is, but not really.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, again, as we talked about before, I don't want to keep harping on it. I just need to know a little bit more about it, right? I need a whatever.
Also, it's a Tom Clancy game, and I tend to tune out for those. So.
Yeah. So at one point, like, they look at a bunch of guys with flamethrowers and like, whoa, those guys are way too high level. And they decide to go around them. And they keep their crew with them, and then they basically call for an evac. And then, like, one of the people in the game, like, while they're waiting for their evac is like, I don't know, man. These guys probably have some loot. We should murder them and take their loot. And so they get into a firefight with the other crew that they hooked up with in their thing. And as they do that, one of their crew gets wounded, but they manage to kill the other guys. And then they've got the last guy, and he's standing there. He's not answering. And then he just guns down the lady who's still alive, takes all of their loot, leaves their party, and, like, fucks off by himself. It's like, well, wait a minute. I don't want to play a multiplayer online game that is in its own footage encouraging other people to shoot me in the face and take my loot because, John, I'm not that kind of guy who's going to fuck over a squad, right? I'm not super interested in playing.
It's like, this is the reason I don't play DayZ.
Exactly. This is the reason I don't play a lot of games, is because people just, people be dicks when you give them a chance to be dicks. And making you could be a dick like a whole thing, it's like, well, then to me it's just like as soon as we get the loot, everybody's going to turn and open fire on each other. In any case, The Division, I mean, it looks like a fully competent video game. Just need to know a little bit more about it. I kind of wish that they would shut up about it until it actually comes out. So
yeah.
All right. Next up, Next up, a franchise that I'm not really very familiar with.
Okay.
Maybe you are. I'm not sure. It's not a thing that I really. I know it's a developer. When they came up with the developer, and then I realized what the franchise was, and I was like, This is Anno 2205.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not familiar with the developer or anything about this game. I mean, it's very much I don't know, it's a simulation game.
That's what I'm getting out of it, but it's like a futuristic SimCity. Maybe like as Cities XL like took over the SimCity mantle, this has taken over like the SimCity 2000 mantle.
Yeah.
Because they have a cinematic trailer that basically is like kind of from the Earth to the moon, and you can have moon cities now.
Yeah.
And then they actually go forward. They actually have a trailer where they show. It's not really like a gameplay trailer. Like it seems like it's in engine.
Yeah.
But it's just moving forward and kind of showing cities being kind of warped into existence. And it kind of goes all around, and then it goes all the way up to the moon, and then it goes again. I guess Anno is just a SimCity knockoff.
Yeah.
Somebody can tell me if it's different. If there's actually like things that you have to do in it.
I mean, it looks cool.
It's very pretty, and I dig the art style incredibly. Right. And I've had a lot of fun with SimCity games. What was the one that you and I played for the Patreon video where we made the little Simsville?
I thought that was Cities XL.
I don't think it was Cities XL.
City Skylines?
Yes, City Skylines. I think that was what it was. Like I had a lot of fun with that game. Even after we finished, I got to build my little city. I don't know. Maybe I'll look for on the Steam sale and see if one of the Annos is on sale.
I feel like this is like one part SimCity, one part Kerbal Space Program, but without the comedy. So it's like you also have to develop your science and have rocket your ship up to the moon and get it there, and then like deliver stuff there, and you know.
I bet there's a button that says "Go to the moon."
You're probably right.
I doubt they're going to make people learn how to escape the Earth's gravitational field and plot a correct orbit in Anno 2205. In any case, looks good. I mean, I don't really have anything else to say about it. It looks good. And Aisha Tyler's talking to a guy who's dressed up like what's his face? What's his name? Something.
Arno or no?
No, that was the guy from Unity. Kind of shows how much of an imprint Assassin's Creed has left.
Well, what I love about it is he says Ubisoft paid me to come here dressed like this.
Right.
And then they never do anything with him other than this.
Nope. In fact, go ahead.
No, and it's to make a really terrible joke that's not even funny.
Yeah. Well, what I found interesting was when I was scrolling back through here, there's actually another shot of Aisha Tyler like walking backwards kind of up the center of this thing, and you can see to the left-hand side that there's somebody there dressed like they're in the Division.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that nobody came cosplaying the Division to Ubisoft's press conference.
Yeah.
And they were just like, yeah, you can go talk to them. And this poor woman sitting next to him who just has to deal with sitting next to this guy the entire time. Anyway, next up is going to be, so you remember how Pele and EA Sports were like the big black hole in the EA press conference?
Yeah.
It's time for the big black hole in the Ubisoft press conference. That is Just Dance 2016.
I'm sure our raid selectors are excited because they know what's coming.
Like last year they announced the whole you can play Just Dance on your phone.
Yeah.
And they're still doing that. And I think they made a point of saying like you can play.
Previously you could like if you had an Xbox or a Sony, you had to have the camera. Like the phone thing was something else.
It was like a streaming service.
Yeah, it was like a streaming service. Well, now they're like, you don't have to have the camera. You just use your phone.
Oh, is that what
your
they were saying?
phone is now the basically your phone is now a Wiimote for the Wii, and it plays like the Wii version.
Okay,
is what I gathered.
Well,
from it.
The Wii version was way easier to play because
it's just the
one
Wii
hand basically. You could stand still. Oh my god, this is gonna make all of our Just Dance videos so much easier.
But you can still use a Kinect.
Okay, and then. Jason fucking Derulo came out.
Yeah.
And sang like a whole song for like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Fuck Jason Derulo, man.
I don't know who that is.
You remember that horrible Han Solo song that was like a ripoff of an MC Chris song in Connect Star Wars?
Guy, yeah.
Jason Derulo, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
Yep, and he sang it on stage in front of a bunch of people dancing behind him. I mean, it would have been impressive if he was singing and doing the moves from Just Dance at the same time.
Yeah.
And even then, I probably would have skipped forward a little bit and I think I went to go pee or something when this was going on.
Yeah. He does the whole song and then basically says that he loves the Just Dance games. And
actually, he does try to get Aisha Tyler to go up on stage and dance. And like a good nerd, she's like, "Fuck yourself, man." You get up
and she even says later, she's like, "Yeah, sorry I wouldn't come up there with you, but unlike most people believe, all black people can't dance." She's like, "I am proof that some black people can't dance." And I was just like, okay, that's weird.
Where are we going with this?
Yeah, I'm like, where is this conversation going?
Yeah, like you guys are you're 2 jumps away from just being completely outside of E3 into something else entirely. I will say the one thing that I thought that was kind of interesting that they did announce about the Just Dance series is they are now going to have a subscription service called Just Dance Unlimited, I think. Yeah. Which is going to be streaming, first of all, which I think is great because there's no reason why you can't stream the little... Like, there's no reason to put the videos of the people dancing on a disc, right? They're not high enough resolution or graphically intense. You could just stream them like Netflix and it would be fine.
Yeah. I'm sure they probably give you some option, like if you are subscribed, that you can probably like download some of them to your hard drive, so that if you go offline or something like that, you still have access to them. I don't know. Maybe they won't. Who knows?
But the big thing here is that they say that they're just going to be adding to the Just Dance service all year round.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to take this opportunity to metaphorically shove my middle finger into the faces of all of you people on the website who are right now thinking, this means Just Dance videos every month. The fuck it does. Or, I don't know, maybe it does. I don't want to do... I don't want Just Dance to have to be a part of every Ragecast, John. I just don't.
We haven't had a Ragecast with a Just Dance yet.
Yeah.
So let's count our blessings so far. Though now we've put that idea out there.
You know what? As I really just want Grant and Jason to... I want to just leave my house, right? Give Grant and Jason a camera and be like, you owe me 60 minutes of footage of Just Dance. I don't care how you get it done. Just get some shit done. But one of you has to be dancing at all times.
All right.
Of course, at that point, one or both of their hearts will have exploded.
Probably.
But, this is the price you have to pay for Just Dance 2016. From here, we're starting to get into a little bit of the... no. Okay, no. I'm going to take that back. From here, we're going into... We're out of the black hole, but we're still within its general gravitational field because it's time to talk about Rainbow Six Siege.
Yes.
And I don't like how to say this correctly.
This is them trying to compete with Call of Duty.
You think so?
Like, Call of Duty had Kevin Spacey.
Oh,
they've got Angela Bassett.
Yeah, and she's doing this very like when she was saying this, I actually thought this was Splinter Cell at first.
Yeah,
because it's like her digital avatar intercut with a bunch of people making like biological weapons or something like that.
Yeah, I thought so too. I legitimately thought it was Splinter Cell at first. I was like, is this like a new Splinter Cell?
I mean, at least in the original, I don't know, a lot of people don't remember this, but like in the novel Rainbow Six, like Ding Chavez and the fucking what's his name and the whole crew, they're going after a bunch of hippies.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny. They're shooting up a bunch of hippies, but so environmental terrorism, I guess, is kind of a thing. But I guess the thing that I guess I'm trying to get at is that when they show footage of Rainbow Six, it's one of those things where I don't feel like more footage is making me any more excited. It all very much feels like the same set of footage. You've got breaching, you've got clearing, you've got here's a shield and go, go, go and stuff like that. I mean, last year, I guess they had the little kerfuffle with the lady hostage thing, right?
Yeah.
This year, no hostages really in any of the trailers for it. But I'm not sure.
Well, basically, it's them basically saying, "Oh yeah, in this mode is back," or this is a mode.
Right. Actually, this beginning part was okay, and then they brought up this young lady to talk about a specific mode, which is Terror Hunt.
Yes.
And it's not the best thing that they brought up one of the more thickly accented people on the entire thing to talk about Terror Hunt. But this is apparently a... Oh, no, wait. First, I talked to Angela Bassett for a while, and like we talked about before...
Yeah, we talked about before. She comes out, she talks about the game, she talks about her experience with the game and how it was interesting to do that because she had never worked on a video game before. And it's like, this is how you do... When you have a celebrity come out to promote a game, this is how you do that interview.
Have them talk about the game. Also, I'm going to say this right now, John. Angela Bassett looks really good.
damn right she
She's
does.
65, I think. Like 60. Like I think she's in her 60s.
Yeah, I don't know how. I'm not even going to presume to know because that always leads to problems. But she looked damn good.
She looks really good. And she seems like she was legitimately excited to come out and talk about the game. Then they brought out this developer that I was talking about before, and she introduced Terror Hunt, which seems like a mode solo/co-op versus AI.
Yes.
So basically kind of like a single player, I guess, right, campaign. I don't think there's been any movement, or I haven't heard or seen anything. I get the impression that they're not going to let you do the planning like they used to in Rainbow Six, which depending on how... Well, no, wait. Last year, when they showed it for the first time last year, wasn't there a thing at the beginning where the guy was like plotting out a plan of their incursion strategy?
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it last year. I blanked out Rainbow Six.
Your brain just like turns off whenever any of this Tom Clancy stuff
whenever
comes
Tom
on.
Clancy comes up. And that's not to say they're bad games because I have liked Tom Clancy games.
Right.
But it's just like I'm the wrong guy to talk to.
It's pretty hefty this year. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, they didn't have a Splinter Cell, but they kind of had everything else.
I think Splinter Cell was the last Tom Clancy game. I think it might actually be the only Tom Clancy game I've ever really gotten into.
Yeah. But this gameplay demo, then they went into a gameplay demo here. And, I mean, I don't know that there's a whole lot here that I can tell you, right?
Yeah.
They kind of climb up, they breach, they clear, they shoot guys. We've seen the same destructible environments that we saw previously. So
they have remote control cameras.
Yep. It all looks good. And, yeah, I mean, I definitely want to play it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the only thing maybe that's big about these announcements, right, is that you wouldn't bother to hire Angela Bassett unless you were going to have a full-on single-player campaign.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So there's got to be some kind of full-on single-player campaign that we haven't yet seen.
Yeah.
At least I think so. I mean, maybe they'd hire Angela Bassett, but
Well, she's the person who's coming on your radio. She's the person who's sending you on the missions. So she may be like the mission briefing.
Right.
Like before every match or whatever, she's briefing your team on the mission.
yeah.
I would assume that there is a story mode, though.
Yeah, I would too, even if it's just bot matches. And there's going to be a beta starting September 24th. And that's pretty much it for Rainbow Six Siege. From there, we move on to one of the more surprising announcements, or one of the announcements that actually had me a little bit more surprised at how interested I was than not. And that's TrackMania Turbo. I think I remember seeing screenshots of like the original TrackMania a long time ago, and it did not seem this bombastic or nutty.
No.
It seemed like it was just kind of it reminded me of, for whatever reason, of like Test Drive Unlimited or something. Where the whole conceit I think of it was that you could make a track, you could share that track online, and then people could race your track, and you weren't even racing with people right at the same time. You were racing against like time trials against their ghosts, right?
Yeah.
This started out in a fucking plane dropped like an Indy car onto a vertical track.
Yes.
And then it starts doing like some fucking physics, like going vertical, doing loops, like some kind of speed racer shit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it totally reminds me of Speed Racer.
And all the while, like around it, there's all these crazy like announcements. There's like cars that are just flipping off the track into the air and spiraling out of control. You got tracks turning sideways. You got shit fucking falling down on the ground. Like, I was like, is this TrackMania? I need to go check out Shootmania if they've made TrackMania like this.
Yeah.
So this is apparently TrackMania Turbo, and I'm not sure if that's rebranded. I don't know if the Turbo is actually coming to... this is obviously coming to Xbox One and PS4. I have no idea whether the PC version of this is anything like that.
Yeah. No, I'm not familiar enough with the games.
Then they had basically some guys come out. These poor guys, I just want to take a quick note, John, to say these two poor dev guys come out, and they're sitting on the steps on the Ubisoft stage, right?
Yeah.
Behind them are two perfectly functional little cushions that they could be sitting on that have, like, helmets on them.
Driver's helmets, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you can't sit on those.
No, those are for the helmets. Yeah.
You get the steps.
This shit just looks really crazy. Like in the first race that they do, it's obviously the guy that's racing this has obviously done this before. But I'm going to tell you right now, when he hits the finish line of the race, his car is literally upside down, flying through the air over the finish line.
Yeah.
And then from there they go on and they basically show that the game can randomly generate these things, can procedurally generate it on its own. That you just basically start it up and it'll create terrain, it'll create a track, it'll create a bunch of like foliage and stuff around it, and a fully playable track just with the push of a button. Not the most exciting thing in the world, but like I'm kind of interested.
Looks good.
I'm not interested in playing it. TrackMania, yeah.
Yeah.
Then let's see. From there, we moved on to a cinematic trailer for Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Go ahead.
Is it just me, or are we seeing a whole lot of cinematic trailers for this and not a whole lot of actual gameplay?
Seems to be the thing to me.
Well,
let's see. We did see the gameplay. They had the gameplay reveal when they first announced it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we've seen a few different gameplay trailers, but like, I wonder at this point, like, is this part of the game? Because this is just like a story beat in the game.
Yeah.
We've got our main protagonist who, again, I can't remember his name. And it's basically like, I feel like what we're seeing... My problem is that I feel like what we're seeing here is kind of a thing that we've already seen a bunch of times before.
Yeah.
There's a rival gang. They're working for the Templars. You jump down. You follow their leader. In this case, you grab a stagecoach, follow their leader. Then you veer off to one side. Pick up the trail of, I guess, the guy that hired them, hang him in a steel foundry, go back to the gang, make their leader look like a bitch, and then take the gang for your own, right? Like, we get it. That's cool, guys. Which, let's see. So was it last year? No. 2 years ago.
Okay.
When Black Flag was coming out.
Jacob Fry.
Jacob Fry. Thank you very much.
Name, by the way.
Thank
and his
you very
sister's
much.
name is Evie.
Yes. I have his sister's name written down from the Sony conference. But last Assassin's Creed, they were showing more of the actual game and less.
Yeah.
That's, I think, what you were getting at, right? Is that you were saying that in previous years, even with Black Flag, even with Unity, they seem to be showing more of the game and less of these cinematic trailers.
Yeah.
Which aren't necessarily super bad looking by any stretch of the imagination, but just
those horses are dead.
Yeah,
that actually bothered me.
They kind of cut away. Those horses got Still, I'm excited about playing the game.
Yeah,
I mean, I like what I'm seeing. I think it's an interesting direction. I just wish that at their own fucking conference on one of their flagship properties, they would have been a little bit more upfront about stuff.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
See what I wrote down here for this. No gameplay footage. Looks good. Oh, they did the whole like slow pop song thing that everybody seems to do now.
Yeah.
Blech. All right. So finally, we had our big wild card of the show. This was a kind of a cagey thing where they were like, and finally, before we go, we're going to show you something that this is. Because I feel like Ubisoft now has painted themselves into a corner where every year they have to reveal something, some new IP, and I feel like this is honestly the place where I would have expected to see For Honor in previous years, except that For Honor actually had gameplay footage, right?
Yeah, true.
So this is, I'm not going to make you guys wait as long, Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Yeah.
This does not look anything like Ghost Recon to
No,
me.
it doesn't. I actually want to play this.
Come on, man. There's people out there that like Ghost Recon.
Oh, no. Again, the Ghost Recons are not bad games. I just, for whatever reason, I tend to turn out on tactical squad-based games. But I don't know what it is about this. But this trailer actually made me go, I want to play this game.
Well,
I don't know what it is, but I want to play it.
At least what I know is that in the old days, Ghost Recon seemed to focus more often than not on future tech, future warfare, right?
But everything is future warfare now.
Well, the Division is future warfare. Yeah. This, honestly, halfway through this trailer, and we'll talk about what's going on in the trailer in just a minute, but halfway through this trailer, my guess was actually, I was like, wait a minute. Ubisoft doesn't own the rights to Mercenaries, do they? Because that's what this looked like to me at a certain point was Mercenaries, which they don't.
No.
That's a EA or Activision or somebody.
I think it's
right?
Activision.
But
I could be wrong.
Basically, at the
Feel free
beginning
to
of this,
tell me I'm wrong.
I mean, there's a very heavy. This isn't something I get to say. I want to really relish being able to say this. This game has a real serious cocaine vibe to it.
There's a lot of cocaine.
where they start out with this gravelly, gruff voiceover of a dude who's like talking about, and they're obviously talking about cartels and how the cartels aren't afraid of death, right? And so then they show this scenario of a group of, it looks like 4 guys.
Yeah.
Taking out this drug lab of this guy called White Hat in 3 different ways. And the first one is long range.
In which they just have they're far away, they snipe.
Yeah, basically it looks like there's a bunch of troops in this thing. In this one, they snipe White Hat, and then you've got you got guys in a Jeep and a guy on a motorcycle that are, because as soon as they snipe him, the truck with the cocaine leaves, and they basically follow it and they kind of blow it off the road. Then they go on to what was the second option called? The stealth option. Yeah, stealth option, where they're coming in the nighttime and it's raining, and it's the same place, but it looks dramatically different.
Yeah, because it's at nighttime, it's raining.
Got this neon on it and everything.
And everything's very up close and personal.
Yep. They've all got silenced guns. They're coming in. They grab White Hat. They don't kill him. They grab him, shove him in the trunk of a car, which actually it's interesting. The movement, the character movement, the character animations and stuff that we're seeing here, like it's definitely listed as pre-alpha footage, but it seems like it's got a little bit of that frame blending to it. Like it's a little bit looser than I would expect something like this to be. But they throw this guy in the back of a car. They drive away. They set some bombs. They blow the place up. Stealth. And then what's the third one?
The third one is just fucking chaos.
Ambush option. Yeah. Where basically they just kind of roll up and open fire.
Yeah.
And they show that it's a third-person
Which is probably my option in most cases.
Yep. They do show, they do show that the guy has like a drone for marking targets.
Well, it's also the drone is used to fly into something and make it explode.
Well, sure, like all drones do. But yeah, it looks like a pretty standard third person. Actually, no, it doesn't look pretty standard. It looks really good.
Yeah, it does. It looks really good.
This game looks better to me than The Division.
Yeah.
Not just because of the things I bitched about The Division, but just the fidelity of the environment, the number of things in it, and the clear cut, like, I know why I'm killing stuff, all seems interesting. Like, even in this third mission, the guy's got White Hat in his sights, and they're just
they said, don't waste the bullet. He's a dead man anyways.
Right, and then they come back to this cut scene where, like, some kind of, like, Joker...
They went with the third option.
Airbender dude or something. Like, he's got a bunch of arrows on his face. And
he's all tatted up.
Yeah. Basically, they're killing this guy because he lost his cocaine and got fucked up. So... but then from there, the most interesting part, that was interesting just to show it in the 3 different ways, but from there they kind of have a little montage there towards the end where they're showing it's a giant open world. There's like all kinds of like driving around with a bunch of your buddies. I can't say that it's an open world. They said it's a big world. I don't know if there's like a load time between stuff.
Yeah, it seems like it's maybe open world, or at least there is an open hub world to it, and then when you select your mission, it then allows you to go into that.
Yeah, and they've got like... tops of mountains, salt flats, jungle, scrubland.
And what it looked like, it showed a lot of places in South America, and then it started showing places in Europe, and then it started showing like a map. Like, it actually shows a map that starts off in South America.
Right.
And then it shows the U.S., and then it shows other countries and things like that. And I'm wondering, are those all... Like, are those...
No,
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, no, it's... I don't think they would make a point of... if... let me put it this way. If they're drawing attention on this trailer to all of the different places on the map where they're throwing the cocaine onto,
yeah,
and it's only in South America, well, this trailer is a jerk off.
Yeah, it is.
Because you got to do that.
But yeah, no, and I'm going to be honest. Like, this game, watching that trailer made me go, okay, I've never been interested in a Ghost Recon game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm suddenly interested.
Yeah, no, it looks good. It looks real good. And that is the last thing that they showed. So, again, I feel like in a lot of ways, kind of like the EA conference, but not quite as bad.
I think it was better than the EA conference.
I think it was better than the EA conference as well. But I kind of still feel like they had... I feel like the people who did really good at E3 this year had a strong beginning, had a strong end, and then had like 2 or 3 really strong points throughout the middle.
Yeah.
Whereas once you got past For Honor and you started moving along to, Assassin's Creed Syndicate that we've seen... they did have more new IP stuff with Anno and TrackMania Turbo. But, you know, like, we knew that there was going to be an Assassin's Creed. We knew about the Division.
Yeah.
We knew there was going to be a Just Dance. That's not... Oh, my God, there's going to be a new Just Dance. I'm so excited. And then the other stuff that they had was, you know, Trials Fusion and the Crew expansion. So when you, like, kind of stack it all up, they had... And then Rainbow Six Siege. They had good stuff, but the big points at them were on this conference to me was For Honor and Ghost Recon, the beginning, very beginning and the very end.
Yeah, those were the bookends. Those were the most important things you could have gotten out of this specific conference.
Yes. Here we can see it here.
Yeah,
It's our poor
I see
Division guy. But sorry, I'm just pointing out the Division
because
guy.
him and the Jacob Fry guy are looking at each other like, yeah, I don't know why I'm here either.
Yeah, she talked to me. What up? Anyway, so that was the Ubisoft press conference, and I feel like that it was good. It moved along. It was also was it shorter than the EA conference?
It felt a little bit.
I mean, maybe it just moved along a little bit faster.
Yeah, I think
than the EA
at the
conference.
very least it may have moved along faster.
And it was very well presented. So you know what? We're going to go ahead and we're going to take a break. Not as long of a break as last time. But when we come back, we've got one more conference to run down. So we'll see you in just a few minutes. Seconds. Pretty much momentarily.
Most of us fear death. But for the Santa Blanca drug cartel, death is a saint. They embrace her, praise her, worship her. How do you fight an enemy that doesn't fear death? Maybe you hunt them from the clouds.
All right, and we're back. And it's time to talk about the last thing from Day Zero of E3, and that is the big Sony press conference. And this time I'm hoping that I haven't forgotten anything. I'm pretty goddamn sure that we're starting at the very beginning.
So it's over, right?
So-
it ended. There's nothing else to talk about.
Yeah, they lost.
All right, cool. See you later,
We're
everybody.
going to have to go back, and I have to fill it. Oh, yeah, actually, it turns out I forgot everything. So
Yes,
let's
there
talk
was actually a conference.
Let's talk about that. So in the beginning of the Sony conference, they had a very interesting sizzle reel. And
Which I think they kind of did something similar to this last year.
yeah, they usually do. But what I think was really interesting about this year, and I've actually skipped over some of the montages from some of the other places, but there's something weird happening in this particular one. Like John and I were watching it before because he was here when I was going through all the stuff when we were getting started. Like this is, you're seeing Uncharted, you're seeing Destiny, you're seeing a bunch of different things here.
And Mad Max.
Yeah, but then there's like a few flashes of games that I don't know what they are, and as near as I can tell, they don't ever talk about them. The entirety of this, and I can tell you two of them. Some of this stuff is a little generic to the point where I'm not sure that I can.
Some of them are early access games on PC that we've played.
Right, like what?
Well, we just saw, what was it, the Fall or whatever the heck it's called, the one where you're on the island and
with the airplane at the beginning. Yeah. So there was a very brief snippet when we were going through here where I swear to God I saw what looked like a Warhammer 40K Gene Stealer and a Chaos Marine, and it was just a blip of a second, right? But I swear to God, I thought I saw it, and there was another part here where I saw what honestly looked like a Gundam, but it didn't look like Dynasty Warriors Gundam. It looked like it looked just like either a different Gundam. It could have been a different type of mech, but it looked like a Gundam. And there's a few other things in here that I can't honestly fully identify. So I find it a little weird that they put together this sizzle trailer. There's something in there that kind of looked like Attack on Titan a little bit, but I don't. It's
looked like there
weird.
was a Naruto game somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Looks like there was another Borderlands game.
Yeah, and I just can't entirely
and Lego
tell.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, no, that's not no, that is Lego Jurassic Park. I guess it's Lego Jurassic World.
Yeah.
So weird. It was just a little weird. I mean, normally when they do this kind of stuff, they'll stick to what's at the conference.
Yeah.
Whereas there's another montage at the very end that does seem to stick to what was at the conference.
Still shows a few things.
Yeah. So Sony decided. I feel like everybody's kind of got their opening mic drop moment.
Yeah.
And Sony's. Like, honestly, when this trailer started, I was like, nope, I don't believe it. When they were when the guy was up there introducing it and he was describing it, people were all right. He was like, "Oh."
Well, there had been a rumor that they were going to announce it, that it broke earlier in the week that this was going to be announced.
I try not to pay attention to that stuff. Like there was a couple people in the chat room when we were watching this stuff that would have been like, "Jeff, they already confirmed that." I'm like, I try not to. I like to be surprised by this stuff. I like to see it and react to it live instead of reading it all ahead of time. The Last Guardian. Fucking how many years has it been since they've actually shown? They didn't show it last year.
No, they didn't show it last year.
I don't feel like they showed it the year before.
I think they showed. They said it's still being worked on, but didn't actually show anything new.
Right. I feel like the last time I saw a trailer was probably 3 years ago.
Yeah.
For it. But this is actual gameplay.
Yeah.
Not even a trailer, but actual gameplay.
And it kind of reminds me of some type of weird amalgam of both Ico and Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, because it seems like the area... Okay, so for those... well, no, you know what? If you don't know what Shadow of the Colossus is, go back and watch a trailer for Shadow of the Colossus, right? Or watch the stream. Basically, it seems to be the story of a kid and a giant dog.
Yeah, instead of leading a girl around in Ico, you're leading a giant dog around.
You're leading a Colossus around, essentially.
Yeah.
So the animation in this definitely looks like a Team Ico game where it's kind of got that weirdly awkward, realistic animation.
Yeah.
Where this kid needs some shoes. They're in this giant area, and this kid needs some shoes. So
put shoes on.
It seems like there's definitely you're using what are we going to call this thing? Jimmy
Griffin.
Jimmy Griffin.
I don't know.
Peter Griffin. We're using this Jimmy Griffin as basically a way to solve puzzles. The first thing that they see is that he uses his weight to kind of bash this thing down. And this thing has wings, but it doesn't really seem like it can fully fly.
Yeah, they're not big enough to fly.
Right.
At least not yet, anyways. At this point in the story.
Does it still have, in the actual part of the game that we're seeing, does it still have all the spears and stuff in its back?
No, it seems pretty untouched at this point.
Okay.
And it's interesting, because obviously, like you said, the kid's using it to get around, to solve the puzzle of traversing the environment, and then there's also some stuff that seems to be.
Oh shit! That kid has shoes on. I'm sorry.
Oh, he has sandals on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we were wrong. But anyways, it's just I don't know. It seems like there's also some sections that are there that are designed to keep a creature like that out.
Yeah. Yeah,
which I'm a little curious about.
We're actually watching the reveal right now because there's a part where the kid jumps and the Jimmy catches him, and then he runs up, and there's this weird pinwheel looking thing, a dream catcher hooked up with a wheel of fortune, and Jimmy ain't having none of that.
Yeah. Well, his eyes turn bright red, and he starts billowing smoke off his body.
Yeah, he's just nope.
It's burning him almost.
Do not want. So so in this case, then the kid has to jump over and essentially take care of this, which then goes back to another thing. The thing is that I hate to. I don't want to be vague or referential when I talk about this.
Yeah.
But you nailed it.
Yeah.
It's like Ico, except instead of leading around the girl, you're leading around Colossus. It seems like a puzzle thing. It seems like this kid is in here for a reason. I wonder, do you think that there's a possibility that this might connect?
Oh, I'm almost guaranteeing it because Shadow of Colossus connects to Ico.
Right.
And this is the third game in the trilogy.
Okay.
And so I'm almost willing to bet somehow by the end of the game we're going to see how it connects.
Yeah. Do you want to put your money on do we want to double down on the whole either the kid or the thing's or Jimmy's gonna die at the end, or do you think they're gonna or do you think that they're actually going to be subverting all of our expectations and both of them survive all the way to the end of the game?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think the creature's probably gonna die.
Yeah. You think that they're just those motherfuckers over at Team Ico are just too or whatever their new name is, are just too. They can't help themselves at yanking at your heartstrings when making a giant
I don't know.
bird dog.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. But I think the entire game is going to pull at your heartstrings. It's gonna be emotional. It's going to be very satisfying in everything that it does. And it's even the trailer does a lot of good.
Yeah.
There are some announcements that we're going to talk about a little bit later that people went gaga over that I'm just I have issues with.
Right.
This one, I am fucking happy.
Yeah.
I'm just thank God I would rather this game come out than it not come out.
Sure.
And I am totally on board and want it and want it in my hands as soon as possible.
Yeah. It also looks really, really good.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know. I don't know that. You know what? Okay, I just figured it out. You know what it's missing?
What's that?
There's been. It seems like a lot of the modern games have very specific, like particle and lighting effects that don't seem like they're in here. Like the kid and Jimmy, they both move absolutely fantastically. The environments are a little dullish.
I feel like it's done to keep it looking like it's in the same world as Ico and Shadow Colossus. Like it's because it has that look.
Yeah. I guess it's just, when they moved from the PS3 to the PS4, I think I was maybe expecting a little bit of a big graphical boost. And it feels like it honestly, I think you nailed it on the head. I think it resembles more the HD up-reses of Ico and Shadow of the Colossus than it does like a brand new PS4 game.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'm okay with that.
Uncharted. Yeah. I mean, by no means do I want to say that it looks bad. I mean, the fucking Jimmy's got all these feathers just, rolling this entire time that are really kind of nifty looking. But yeah, the fact that Last Guardian is here and the fact that they led with it, that's pretty big. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
Because people have been asking about it. In fact, I'm going to be the first person to admit that that I think that people were asking me when we were going through this day in the chat room about like, well, what do you think? Are they going to show The Last Guardian? And I'm like, there's no way. There's no way they're going to show The Last Guardian because I've just gotten used to not seeing The Last Guardian. And you know what? I like being pleasantly surprised when they prove me wrong and there's The Last Guardian.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was a great
shit,
announcement.
Man.
Yeah, that was a total like we're leading strong.
Yep. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The next thing that they showed was this is one of my tickles your new IP fancy games.
Yeah.
Something really interesting called Horizon subtitle Zero Dawn. And this is being made by Guerrilla Games.
Guerrilla Games, yeah.
Most of the Killzone series, as far as I can tell. And the whole plot of it seems to be that long ago in the way back, right, that we had civilization, but something wiped out civilization.
Yeah.
And nature's kind of taken back over. And people still exist, but they're at a much more kind
primal,
of like hunter-gatherer, Cro-Magnon-ish type of level. And this is I love this trailer because it leaves me with so many questions that I desperately want to know the answer to.
Yes, and in a good way.
Yes. They talk about a bunch of tribes that have come. Some of them have built bigger places. Some of them are smaller. But the main protagonist, who I don't think we have a name for her, her tribe, it was like the first ones to come. And it seems like they're kind of in proximity to the city a little bit.
Yeah, but she says her tribe is the first ones who hunted, who figured out how to hunt, and she doesn't say what they're hunting.
Right. Well, we find out.
Yeah, we find out pretty quickly.
But they're making bows and arrows, and they've got little like crossbows and spears and stuff like this. And then
like tether bands and things like that.
Yeah, and then we kind of transition into actual gameplay. And so this is one of those questions, and what it turns out that she's hunting is that it seems like there are no, or it's possible, but it seems like there are a lot of these like robot animals.
Yeah. Like
robot like looking dog cat kind of things, and like giraffes and like dinosaurs and quadrupeds and all kinds of stuff. And then the game transitions into something that's kind of like a third-person, kind of stealth, kind of action game, where it starts out and she's gotten noticed by one of these little things, and she has to murder it, and then apologizes to it for some reason.
Yeah.
We're just like, dude, it's a robot, man. They probably were the ones who wiped us all out. Why are you apologizing? And then goes out, and when you say hunting, is apparently hunting, like, in this case, there's like a flock of these robots. And they're like grazing and filling up these tanks on them.
Yeah, as they're grazing, they're filling up these canisters of this, like, I guess you could say goo, which is probably
unclear.
Like nutrients or something like that.
Yeah, maybe. And that the way that she's hunting is knocking these nutrient things off and
then picking them up.
Yeah, and grabbing them. But unfortunately, that basically
breaks the herd.
Yeah, well, they go stampeding, but then it gets the attention of a goddamn Grimlock-looking motherfucking Tyrannosaurus of some sort. And there we get, after that, we get what is a pretty freaking thrilling action scene.
Yeah.
Of this woman basically fighting against this giant beast using a variety of different kind of like cyber bows and crossbows,
cyber arrows, and and
electric arrows. At one point, she breaks this thing off the side of it, and it's got a gun in it that it looks like she picks up and shoots a couple shots off of, and then it's empty. We're seeing that, like you said, tethers.
Yeah, there's a tether thing where she can she shoots at one end at it and then the other at the ground so that it can't move.
Right, to immobilize it in order to basically get access to the weak spot on it, which is like this part where the piece has been blown off of the side. And honestly, you said it. A lot of other people said it. It seems to have some. The overall kind of feel of it seems to be very similar to Enslaved.
Yeah. Well, it's like I like Enslaved. It's a very great game. It's a different company, obviously.
Yeah.
And it feels like someone looked at that game and went, well, what if we told a story in this world that wasn't based on a literary novel?
Right.
That was completely original from beginning to end. What would that be?
Yeah.
And then they came up with this.
Yeah. It looks... I mean, this smacks of gameplay, of the level of resolution that we're seeing in this particular thing. But it looks real nicely polished. Everybody's got really good faces. All of the robot dinosaur was really impressive. Just the number of parts and damage and smoke and particle and light effects, like I was talking about, really fantastic looking. I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, no, it looks great.
Again, I love it when a game like this does this, and then I can sit back and go, like, I'm legitimately interested to find out what the fuck is going on in this game world and to take the journey with this person.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree.
Yeah. Next up, was this the first time that we'd heard about this? Was this the first time that we've heard about this franchise coming back? I mean,
I think I recall hearing something about it being made, but I don't think there was like any details or anything.
Okay. We got a cinematic trailer for Hitman. They're finally rebooting Hitman, I guess.
Yeah. Though it's weird because they do use the comment of welcome back.
Right.
So,
Yeah. And this is a cinematic trailer. And one of the things that I actually really thought was interesting about this trailer was that the whole trailer is based around this beat that's made up of like 47's breathing, I guess, while he's running. But it's real. I mean, it's great. I think that everything in this pre-rendered cinematic. I mean, this is. I say everything is Blur, but it's only because Blur. Whenever I see something good, I just assume that it's Blur Studios.
Yeah.
This kind of seems like that. We've got 47 running. He's still bald. Still a little bit of a problem for me in the entirety of the history of Hitman.
You don't like the fact that he's bald?
No, I like the fact that he's bald, but I think there needs to definitely be, not necessarily in this game, but like when I was playing, not Blood Money, what was the last one that?
Oh, I can't remember what it was.
Split on. Where like at a certain point in the reputation of Codename 47, after a few people have died and the person who killed them was a giant bald dude, I feel like the game needs to reflect that and have 47 pull out a toupee and put it on, because just like Assassin's Creed, all the security has to do is say, hey, if anybody with a shaved head comes to this place, don't let them in.
Look at his back of his neck.
Right.
If he has a barcode, turn him around.
Or basically, I mean, as a man with a shaved head, I can say I'm not expecting to be inconspicuous anymore. Like if somebody wanted to point me out in a crowd, they could be, oh, it's that guy with no hair with a fully shaved head, because the world is not packed with shaved-headed dudes, especially not ones as severe as goddamn 47 is.
Smooth as a baby's butt.
Yep. He definitely looks younger in this trailer. I'm wondering if they're going to do... Did you play the first one? Did I ask you that? No, I asked somebody else.
It's a long time ago, but yeah.
Like, because the first one culminates in the whole program that created 47. And I'm wondering if that's going to be part of the plot of this, or if they're just going to stick to one of the other ones.
Don't know.
I also am fully curious about whether they're going to... stick with the kind of simplified mechanics that they had in the last Hitman game, or go back to something like Blood Money, because I know that people who were fans of the Hitman franchise, I liked the last game.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
People who were fans of the Hitman franchise did not like it because there was only a few routes and it was less of a sandbox and more of a directed experience.
Correct.
But I like the style, I like the look, I like the fact that fucking what's her face, his handler is definitely seems like she's on the other end of the phone at the end of this.
No, I agree.
And you know what? I'm going to say this right now. This is a franchise that needed to be rebooted.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit too convoluted.
It was very convoluted.
And I think it's good that it gets rebooted. Because in the last one, spoiler, he fucking kills what's-her-face, his handler.
Yeah.
And then it's like trying to get her daughter back and stuff like that. So.
Trying to protect her daughter, kind of thing,
But yeah, this is great. Also, I'm going to say this one time. There's an exclusive PlayStation beta for this where they're going to, I think it's going to be maybe multiplayer. I don't know.
Yeah, there was like a lot of betas announced. Beta. Like every other game has a fucking beta.
If I wrote it down, I'm going to say it, but I'm going to tell you right now that, yes, there were a lot of them, and I kind of lost track at a certain point. So
I signed up for as many of them as I could.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. Send me all the ones you signed up for in your email address. Let me manhandle some developers and be like, yo, I could just record a video with my puppet dressed up like a gangster. It'd be a real shame if we had to point out all the flaws in your beta. If we don't get access, we just have to watch somebody else's video. So that's all I'm saying. It's a nice beta you got there. It'd be a shame if we had to talk a lot of shit about it on the show. Next up, we had a very short announcement for Street Fighter V.
Yes, we 2 new characters.
Yep, Birdie and Cammy. Is actually a little bit surprising to me that they didn't spend more time talking about Street Fighter V, considering that it is a PlayStation exclusive.
I think that's why. I think they went, look, more Street Fighter V. Here's 2 new characters. Guess what? We've got your money. Fuck you.
Right, because you think that it's just literally that nobody has a choice. So
yeah, it's either this or PC.
Right.
And truthfully, console gamers are going to pick the Sony version, and if they pre-order it, they get access to a beta.
You prepare to say that about everything from this point onward. Yep, pre-order for beta access. So not a whole lot there. I mean, Birdie and Cammy look good.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say anything about their moves.
Sprung the fighter count up to 6.
Yep. I'm sure that there's probably going to be at least 8 before they launch. So. All right, next up, No Man's Sky. Okay.
I'm still excited for this game.
Okay.
But I'm starting to get less excited.
They're not making it easy. They're not making it easy to be excited for this game.
I feel like I've watched the same thing happen over and over and over again for however many years they've been talking about this game.
Okay, so last year I had some choice words for... Well, no. Oh, yeah, maybe. I can't remember whether I had choice words last year for No Man's Sky or not. But, I'm still in this camp where I need to know more about No Man's Sky. I feel a lot like I feel about The Division. I need to know some reasons as to why we're doing the things that we're doing. Okay, so it starts out, and they actually show some combat. They show some space combat. Very short. Then they spend about 1 billion years in gameplay stepping through time, zooming out to show you what we already know. The world is freaking
The universe
gigantic.
is just hundreds of thousands of millions of planets and whatever.
Yep. And so then the I can't remember his name. The guy from Hello, he jumps into this particular place, this particular planet. He kind of dives into the atmosphere, and as he's diving in, again, we can see a little bit more, and that we can see these kind of points of interest that have been pointed out on the planet. Okay, am I seeing this right? Did the scan lines ever go away? The really subtle scan lines that are in there?
I can't see any subtle scan lines.
No. Okay.
Oh, no, there they are.
There they are. I'd like an option to turn that off, please. Then it comes down to the planet, and actually we see a couple things that I've never seen before. One, he pulls out a gun, and apparently some of the terrain is destructible. Because he pulls out a gun, he shoots at this rock, and it pops off a few things. It's a little ragged when it happens, but whatever. Then, at that point, a lot of the native wildlife starts running away, and something else comes up, a sentinel that he says is there to protect the planet.
From people like him.
From people like him. Now, why is the sentinel here? It's interesting. I mean, the fact that he backs off so quickly from it makes me wonder, are these things you could just blast them away? So he runs away, and basically, as he's going through here, he's picking up a few different, life readings.
Yeah.
Then he's taking to this tower to synchronize into the global database.
Yeah.
And I assume that we're watching it right now, but I can tell you guys when it happens. I can't. But it seems like when he does that he's getting credits because there's like a credit meter in the upper left-hand corner. Now, is that the only way to get credits? Can you jump somebody else's claim? Once you discover a thing, are you the only person who gets to be the discoverer of that?
I would assume that if 3 people discover the same thing,
right,
then it's a race to get to the hub or whatever the waypoint.
Okay.
To upload it, so that you, like, if you just happen to be on the same planet with other people,
right,
and you all discover the same thing, but none of you have actually turned it in at that waypoint, it's a race to get to that waypoint. So that I discovered this. It was all me. I did it.
Okay. I'm curious to know if once you've discovered something, if that claim can switch hands, or if it's just yours forever.
I think I would be surprised if it's yours forever.
You wouldn't be surprised if it's yours forever?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would because they made a very big deal in one of the previous E3s about everything you discover on the planet you start out on is like yours. Like it's like, oh, this is your planet. You discover everything on this planet. It's yours and no one can take that from you ever.
Right.
Other people can visit your planet, but
okay. Well, I'm still looking forward to finding out more about it.
Yeah. I know what the point of the game is. They've said it, that it's to go to the center of the universe.
Yep.
Don't fucking know why that's the point of the game, but that's the point of the game.
Actually, now that you said that, it makes me wonder. See, my greatest fear about No Man's Sky is that the point of the entire game is looking at a thing and then uploading that information.
Yeah.
Because that's like to be, not to be mean about it, but most of the footage that I've seen in No Man's Sky, the worlds look very similar, right? And so, like if you went to a world and everything on that world was microscopic and you had to find it, that'd be interesting. If everything on the world was giant, right, that'd be interesting. If you had worlds that had a very, very different type of structure to them, because most of the worlds that we've seen have been like grassland, mountain, that kind of thing. I think the idea of having somebody else discover something and then going to their planet and shooting them in the face and taking all their information and going to the upload point is kind of interesting. I think that building an outpost or something, if there's a way for somebody to take your claim away from you and having to defend it, is kind of interesting. But I don't know. I guess this is what I'm saying. If the entirety of the game comes down to look at a thing and upload that information to get credits to buy ships to go further, to look at a thing to upload that information to get credits to buy ships to go further, to do that, if that's your gameplay loop, I'm not interested in playing that for more than about an hour or two.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 or 4 at the most. Right. All right. Next up, Media Molecule, makers of Little Big Planet. Yep.
And
showing
another weird thing.
A thing. I swear to God, they showed this last year. I don't think it had a name last year. I think it might have been an untitled project. But they're showing a game called simply Dreams. And they're admittedly well-meaning dude comes out and talks about how dreams feel and stuff. And but this is like, I have a hard time understanding exactly what this game is.
Well, and he even says at one point, he goes, people who are playing this game, they don't get it immediately.
Right.
He's like, there are people who will play it and they don't get it, and it's not until they've played it for multiple hours that they're like, oh, I get it now.
Right. So they show in the very beginning this kind of like sculpture system where you can use,
which looks really cool,
the PlayStation 4 controller. I just, what I wonder is just how, like, this is obviously being done, the sculpting in this demo is obviously being done by somebody who knows exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right? Like somebody who works for Media Molecule. And what I wonder is, how good are you going to have to be at sculpting in order to be able to do this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, how good of an artist are you going to have to be in order to make something? Like, is it going to be a very, very difficult thing? Because not only do they have sculpting, but then they also have, and this is what I swear to God they were showing last year, this
animating through like puppetry,
right? Where you're using the motion controls in your PlayStation 4 to kind of virtually animate.
Which that is actually the part that interests me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
The other thing that I found that was kind of interesting is that during the sculpture part, everything in the world was very, like, fuzzy looking, very kind of off-center and kind of fuzzy looking. But when they actually get into the game itself, things seem a lot sharper. And I'm like, it seems weird to me that you would be doing your creation in a system that already has a level of artistic rendering over it. But then they showed a trailer, and it was pretty nifty. It showed, like basically just a bunch of different worlds. Now you told me that you think that there's actually they said that there's a story component here.
I don't know.
Okay.
Like, I think the idea is that they went, okay, it's like Little Big Planet in that we give everyone the tools to make stuff, and
Sure.
then we let everyone make their stuff. I think that's going to be the aspect of it. I think there probably will be some type of game mechanic, but
I wonder if you can make a game. Like, can you make a game and then upload it and let other people play it?
I mean, that's possible.
Or, I mean, because otherwise it seems like it would just be a machinima tool, right?
Yeah.
And if there is the ability to make a game and then upload it, like if you're like me and you're not interested in actually making something, I really need to know whether there's a single player game that teaches you this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, then we had a trailer, and it's got some future stuff. It's got some zombie stuff. It's got some like cutesy bears and stuff. I will say that I think that this is the next game on my list of TTD measurement, because when I get to play this, everybody who plays this, the first thing they're going to do is draw a dick, and so that's just what's going to happen. I like how surreal it is, and it's interesting because I'm actually kind of interested if it's actually functional and feasible and able to be used. I like the idea of me and us being able to use this as a creation tool for videos, right?
Yeah.
Of like, make a video series of some sort, right? It just has to be easy enough to
Rage
use.
Select Dreams.
That's right. You don't want to know, folks. You don't want to see our dreams. They're fucking scary. All right, that's all I'm going to say. From there, we got another game that was vague but interesting.
So, if I remember correctly, the last time someone talked about this game, it was literally just they showed the title,
Yeah.
and that was it.
Okay.
You didn't see any gameplay footage, and everyone went, well, what is it? And they're like, well, we'll talk about it later at E3 next year.
I thought it was E3 last year.
Yeah,
where
it
they
might have
just
been.
briefly said it.
Yeah, and then they're like, we'll talk about that next year.
So this is Firewatch, and this is like it seems like a stylized like first person.
Almost like an adventure game.
Yeah, I can't tell what it is. I mean,
Like kind of a modern style point-and-click adventure game, except you're all doing it from first person.
right. You seem to be some kind of like ranger.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a part where it seems like you're clearing off some brush. There's a part where you're investigating a thing, and all the while you have a person on the other end of your walkie-talkie. There's a part where you're yelling at some damn kids to get out of the lake or whatever.
Well, also that at one point she tells you that there's some girls that are missing and that you're the last one who may have seen them.
Ah, okay, maybe that's that.
And
Then there seems to be some sabotage.
yeah, there's some sabotage going on.
And there's a real interesting part at the end where she's like, or you're like, the cable's been cut, and she's like, wait a minute, are you already at the cable? And he's like, yes, and she's like, well then who's in your tower? And you turn and there's a light on the tower. And it's like, oh, dun dun dun. I think if it's something like a cross between something like Gone Home and maybe with a few different little action beats in it.
Yeah.
It looks interesting.
Yeah.
I dig the art style is not oppressive or in your face or very different. It's just very clean and kind of
Yeah. No, I dig it. I totally dig it.
Okay, so next up, Destiny. They had a trailer and they talked about the Taken King for a little bit of time.
I'm going to say this.
Yep.
Every time I see a trailer for Destiny, I'm like, man, I want to play this game.
Right.
And then I think about the last time I played Destiny and go, man, I don't want to play this game.
Yep. They make a hell of a trailer that is really impressive.
Yeah.
It almost seems like that this is a trailer for. I can't tell about any real specifics. That there's some threat that has come back. And he says last time, like you.
Well, I think that it insinuates that I guess in a previous like probably raid for an expansion, you killed his son.
I'm wondering if that's not in the single player game.
Oh, is that
There's
the
a
single
mission,
player? Okay, yeah.
Or there is one mission where you pick up that you get a sword.
Okay, that's it.
One mission in the game, and then you kill a bunch of people.
Yeah,
with
that's the.
I don't know. Actually, Crota in the two expansions, you may do something in there since then. But the indication here is that whoever that guy is that you killed, his pappy's coming back to fuck you the fuck up.
Yep.
And yeah. I can't tell. I wonder, is this with the season pass or is this a second expansion?
I don't know.
This might be a year 2 type of thing. Anyway, it all looks really great.
If you're into Destiny, I'm sure it's going to be awesome and you're going to love it.
Absolutely. Aaron is already getting ready to go. From there, we went back to Assassin's Creed, where we got to see a little bit of Evie. Who actually, it's interesting. I can't tell. Like
hers feels like a more traditional Assassin's Creed character.
Yeah,
where Jacob feels very much like I'm just gonna fucking go out there and do whatever and not gonna be stealthy and cause all sorts of ruckus. She's very like I'm gonna be stealthy. I'm gonna be in the shadows.
You know, it's like it's almost like Jacob is like early Ezio and she's more like Altair.
Yeah.
Right. And I wonder if they're going to play differently. That's what I'm curious about.
That's what they've said.
Oh yeah? Okay.
Yeah, they've said that that her character plays differently and that it's very cold and calculating and you have to be very precise with your movements.
Okay.
Whereas he's a little bit more brash and runs headfirst into danger.
Because the thing is that in this particular trailer, like all the trailers with the other guy, Jacob?
Yeah, Jacob.
Okay.
Jacob Fry and
Jacob
Evie Fry.
Is that he seems like so many of his trailers have focused on the gang aspect.
Yeah.
Of like, I've got a gang and I'm rallying people to my cause. This whole thing with her was like just her by herself kicking a bunch of ass.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, I'm totally going to play as her and, we'll
And actually, I agree with now that you've said it. Like Jacob is totally Altair, or not Altair. He's Ezio, and his sister is Altair. That's exactly great. It's like they went, well, what are the two characters that everyone likes? Because everyone hated Connor, and no one likes Arno. So what are the characters? Oh, it's these two characters. These are everyone's favorites. So what if we gave them these personalities to two new characters?
Yeah. From there. From there. I actually didn't write this down. I'm glad that we're watching this in real time. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
So they announced a new Final Fantasy game.
Yep. It's called Final Fantasy Worlds, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, or Worlds of Final Fantasy.
Worlds of Final Fantasy.
And you have characters that can turn chibi and not chibi.
Right. And the whole thing seems to be that it's about stacking chibi characters on top of non-chibi characters. So like when your characters are big, they can have little chibi Final Fantasies on top of them, and when the characters are big enough, then they have your little chibi guys on top of them. I am a pretty big fan of actual honest to God Final Fantasy, John.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, please stop.
They're experimenting.
Yeah, I'd rather have a new Final Fantasy Mystic Quest.
Which, I'm going to say something weird, because we're going to get into the next announcement, obviously, in just a second. I'm really surprised there was no Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, Heavensward comes out like next week, right?
Or 15, or whatever the new one, the demo. 15. Yeah, there was no talk about 15.
Yeah, not even at the Squares conference.
Yeah, there was no talk about it. Instead, we get these two games, the next one we're going to talk about in just a second.
Right.
But I just thought that was really weird.
It is weird. I mean, considering the fact that Final Fantasy 15 was missing for so many E3s, and they actually have the ability, they've got a demo out there that people will be excited about. Like here's the thing. I thought at least at the Square booth, because you know what? They've been showing the area that's in
they might have.
Episode Duske.
Yeah.
Or not at the booth, at the show.
Oh, okay, at the show, yeah.
They've got the episode Duske out that's running around in the field, which is what they've been showing, right? Like, it's Final Fantasy. It's not going to be 60 hours in a field, right?
Yeah.
There's got to be, like, cities and more stuff, and, like, I'm actually kind of excited about 15 because of the weird...
That episode Duske thing actually totally sold me on it.
Yeah. So
in a way that I haven't been sold on Final Fantasy in a long time.
I'm surprised that they haven't talked about it more. I mean, I'm actually kind of surprised they're not pimping out Heavensward. I mean, I guess that comes out in like a week or two.
Yeah.
Or even maybe by the time this podcast is up, I don't know. But probably not then. But it comes out soon, and they really didn't talk about it at all. In fact, and the fact that they focused on that, like, that's the sort of thing that I would relegate. I would relegate Worlds of Final Fantasy to the Square conference and say, give us whatever you've got for 15, and we'll show it here.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what Square did do. They got a mic drop in this year.
They did.
They got a pretty freaking big one. I'm going to tell you, this is another thing that is just like when they did The Last Guardian. They started this trailer up. People in the chat were guessing what it was, and I was like, no fucking way. There is no way that the Final Fantasy VII Remake is actually a thing. Because they've been they've been so bitchy about it.
Trolling us. And then apparently they came out and said that, oh, no, before they announced the announcement last year about the releasing the HDified Final Fantasy VII on they came out and said, oh, no, we were actually working on this before we actually announced that. So we knew this was coming out even though when we announced that.
That fucking announcement was so...
And it's like, so you guys were purposefully trolling the fans.
Yep. But yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
So, yep.
I actually found out some stuff about this. I actually have been looked into this a little bit. So the first thing that bothered me is that they came right out and said, Square came out and said, this ain't coming out for like 3-4 years, if not more than that. Like, this is going to be a long while before this comes out.
Yeah, that's what Square does.
And it's coming out first for PS4.
Right.
Which means that at some point after that, it's coming to other consoles as well. So anyone who's like, well, Sony just got the biggest exclusive ever. It's not fucking exclusive. It's a timed exclusive.
Sure. But let me I mean, you know, not to be too argumentative, but I do want to say that in a lot of ways, like, we still don't know with Tomb Raider, but like the amount of time that exclusive lasts can be a very mitigating factor.
This is very true. But the other thing that worries me a little bit about this is that this is a full-on remake. This is not them like prettying up the graphics. They are rebuilding the game from scratch with the same story, meaning they're using modern game techniques. This is not using the same combat system. This is not using anything other than them using the same story. And they've even said that they're adding stuff to the story and maybe changing things a little bit. So my worry here is that when it comes out, are people going to be happy because it's HD, really awesome-looking Final Fantasy VII and it's the same story? Or are they going to be upset because so much has been changed that it's still the same story, but it's not the same game?
I will answer your question. They will be upset.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If they just took Final Fantasy VII, kept everything the same, and made it really pretty, they would be upset because it was just the same goddamn thing.
Yeah. And I think that's why they're doing the HD Final Fantasy VII and then Final Fantasy Remake, because then they'll be like, well, if you want the original version of the game, there it is.
Right. I think that, see, I actually read an editorial a long time ago that was talking about if you're going to remake a game like Final Fantasy VII, is it better to actually go and change the plot of it? Because you can then... Like, we've already, you know, those of us that have played Final Fantasy VII, we know what happens in Final Fantasy VII. So if you actually go in and change the plot in subtle and different ways, you can surprise the player all over again, because now their expectation is actually for what the story was, and anytime you deviate, they should be excited. Of course, that's outside of modern internet game users that are just upset about it.
And there has been stuff where they've said they're going to keep some stuff in. I mean, it is going to be a dark and gritty remake. Like, it's going to be more dark and gritty.
The trailer was gritty. The voiceover was gritty.
Yeah, it's dark and gritty. But they did say that some stuff is going to stay there, like the whole cross-dressing Cloud. That's going to stay in there, so you're going to get that in all its cross-dressing glory. But it's you know, putting Cloud in a dress. But it's so, I mean, it's going to embrace some of the more comical side of things, but I think it's going to fall on the realm of more realistic as far as how...
Unless they write the entirety of Kate Sith out of the game, then I don't think there's... I mean...
True.
And, like, you know... Okay, I'll put it this way. I don't think that they would be willing to change enough of the characters, like, you know... Yuffie is she's a freewheeling psycho, right?
In all honesty, I think the dark and grittiness is going to be exactly like Advent Children.
Yeah.
It's going to be on that level.
Yeah.
Where it's still jokey, but it's more realistic.
Maybe you do have the sort of thing where if they go back and they're recording dialogue, which I'm pretty sure they probably will be doing, right? And they've got realistic-looking characters that have facial expressions, they probably need to change some of the dialogue just because, like, you've got some dialogue in Final Fantasy sometimes that's ridiculous. And if you've got... there's a difference between two squares with happy faces painted on them going brrrr, while a little thing down at the bottom says, like, what? And then recoiling, as opposed to having like actual subtle facial expressions and stuff like that.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm excited for it.
Oh, me too.
I will buy the shit out of this.
Sure. I'm a little dismayed to hear you say that they're reworking the entire combat system because Square has not had a good track record recently.
What I'm saying that is, like, they said that they're remechanizing things to modernize it because they're like the story, the mechanics, everything is very dated and doesn't hold up as well.
I hope they don't change I hope it's still turn-based.
Okay. Yeah, it may still be.
Yeah.
I could, I'm sure someone in the chat or in the comments below the episode will be like, John, you're a fucking idiot, because right here they said they're not changing any of the combat, just the graphics.
Refer to our first part of the day 0 podcast.
But I'm just saying, it's like I worry, because like I feel like people are hyping it way too much, and people are saying it's like, instead of a mic drop, it was a nuclear bomb drop, according to the way most people reacted to it.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, I don't think, like, it's good. I'm excited for it. I can't wait for it. I'll probably buy it on the PlayStation 4 too.
Yeah.
Because I want to play it as soon as it comes out.
Sure.
But I don't think it's as big of a thing that people are reacting to it as.
I think my general policy is that I am excited by this. Be cautious in your optimism, and remember the number of times that Square has fucked you over the years.
Yeah.
Because Square has made bad games, and not terribly bad, but Square have made games that end up in just the kind of like, nah, this is serviceable camp, right?
Well, it's like there have been times that Square has been like, hey, we're giving you something that you want, for it to turn out to be something completely different.
Right.
Like Advent Children.
Yeah. I like Advent Children.
Yeah, I
would
actually
point
like
to
that movie, so yeah.
Dirge of Cerberus maybe, and say it was a middling third-person shooter.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, there's plenty of stuff out there. I'm looking forward to it. Let's move on to the next thing. Unless you have anything else to say.
No, actually, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
That was the extent of my bitching about that.
I wish they'd shown a little bit more.
I don't think there is more to show.
I don't either. But what they showed was very much like pre-rendered, and I'm like, well, I know that Square can make a pretty cutscene. I've seen them make a fucking pretty cutscene before. I would almost have rather them redone the train section.
Oh, yeah.
Just done that one little piece in whatever engine they're if they're using the white engine or whatever it's called that they use for 15. If you do it in engine without and with the graphics of the level that they're going to be eventually. But I don't know. That's probably a little bit early for them to be hedging their bets. All right, next up, we have another one of our lovely indie montages from a company that's near and dear, John, to both of our hearts.
Yes.
Devolver Digital. Fucking love these guys, man.
I don't think I've ever hated anything they've done. I've been not impressed by stuff that they've done, but I've never hated it.
I didn't really go back and play that much of Titan Souls.
Yeah.
And then Not a Hero, I kind of just lost the thread with. But
yeah.
They announced, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4 games. Ronin, which was actually at South by last year. This year?
For people who may know this other game, it kind of looks like a little bit more stylized version of Gunpoint, but with more ninja stuff.
Yeah. The interesting thing about that trailer, if you go back and watch it, is that game is turn-based.
Yeah.
So the thing is that you'll do a move, and then everybody else will move at the same time as you, and then when you finish your move, the game stops to let you plan what you want your next move to be.
Well, it's like, and I do actually remember an interview with the guy who made
Ronin?
No, not Ronin. The other
Gunpoint.
Gunpoint.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just said it and I forgot it already. They had an interview with him where they were like, "This person's clearly ripping off your game," and he was like, "Cool."
Yeah.
He's like, he goes, truthfully, that person approached me when they were making it and showed it to me, and I was like, this is awesome. I can't wait till you release it.
Yeah. I played it at...
he's like, it's a completely different game. I'm not worried.
It's really interesting. I mean, Gunpoint had all that rewiring stuff. None of that here.
None of that here.
And when you look at the trailer, I think that the action looks similar to Gunpoint. I will tell you this right now. The body count is much closer to Mark of the Ninja than it is to Gunpoint. Next up, and the rest of these, I don't think we've seen any of them.
No.
And I make a point of I like Devolver and their stuff. Next one is Eiter, EITR. Eiter? I don't know. And this looks like really interesting. It kind of looks like a third-person hack-and-slash game, but it almost looks... It reminds me a lot of Sword and Sorcery, the Super Brothers game.
Yeah.
Except it's a little bit higher resolution. I don't know. It seems like kind of an action game, like a character action game.
Isometric.
There's some pig punching. I'll play it. I mean, actually, you know what? I'm just going to blanket statement. I'll play all this shit. I'll play it today if you ask me to.
Yeah, definitely.
Next up, Mother Russia Bleeds.
Which is like the most gory beat 'em up.
Yeah. It's like an isometric beat 'em up. and it's got like
it's in the vein of like Fatal Fury or not Fatal Fury, like Final Fight, Streets of Rage.
Yep.
But it's like super bloody and gory and takes place in Russia.
Yep. Next, and last but not least, Crossing Souls, which I remember there was an announcement trailer for, but I can't tell exactly what this game is. I mean, again, it looks kind of an isometric third person.
And it has like weird like 80s cartoon cutscenes.
Yeah. Anyway, it all looks great. Fucking thumbs up, Devolver. You guys are awesome. In fact, the fact that I even know them by name at this point is a testament to the quality of games that they've been putting out over the years. All right, next up, John, we've got something that I know you're not super happy about. Super happy.
I'm also mixed on this one.
Okay.
So
do you want to set it up? Set it up.
So they come out and they're like, "Hey, we support Kickstarter people. We love Kickstarter games. Here are some games that have been funded on Kickstarter and are on the PlayStation 4. You should totally. Hey, here's a new Kickstarter. You may be familiar with it. It's called Shenmue 3.
Yeah. Yep. Well, they had a trailer announcing it.
Yeah.
So, or actually, they had a Kickstarter video.
Yeah, it's the Kickstarter video.
From the guy who made Shenmue and Shenmue 2. And it was weird because I didn't actually even know what was going on here.
Yeah.
Like, they referenced a Shenmue 3 Kickstarter, and I thought that like there already was one, but no, they were announcing it on the stage at E3.
Yes.
Which is a little bizarre.
Because my problem is the press conferences to me are to be, hey, we're announcing this game, and this is why you should want to play it.
Right.
Instead, it's we're giving you a sales pitch and telling you need to go give money to this developer or else they'll never make this game, and therefore it's your fault if it doesn't come out.
Right, right.
And I feel like that's kind of a shitty thing to do.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, any game that at a press conference comes out and says, "Hey, we're doing a Kickstarter, go Kickstart it," and doesn't meet its goal, there's something wrong with that game.
Well, it already has, right?
Yeah, it's already like well above its goal.
Okay. So yeah, Shenmue 3, and it's going to be PS4
PS4 and PC.
And PC. Okay. PS4 and PC.
Yeah, it's weird because I was reading an interview with Yu Suzuki, and apparently someone asked him, are they going to like re-release Shenmue 1 and 2 for people who've never played them, so that people who don't, because they basically said, if you've never played Shenmue 1 and 2, you're not going to understand this game.
Right.
Because it's directly completing that story.
And I'll be honest, I haven't.
So,
I didn't have a Dreamcast.
So they asked him, they were like, well, are you going to re-release those? He goes, actually, we don't own the rights to those.
Yeah.
Sega owns the rights to those. We don't. So it's like, wait, you don't own the rights to the game you're making a sequel to?
Yep.
How does that work?
Oh, dude, the same way that Mighty Number 9 and Ikaragi or Itagaki's Inafune's Castlevania game.
Oh, that's that's Ikaragi. Inafune is a Mighty Number 9.
Yeah.
But those aren't sequels to those games. Those are just other games in that same genre.
Yep.
But also on top of that, they did say, I will say there was a stretch goal on the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
That did say that they're going to make mini episodes that retell the story of 1 and 2.
Okay.
And they reached the stretch goal for that one.
Okay.
That are going to be fully voice acted and everything, so that people can watch those and catch up.
Because this is, I think that Shenmue 3 is interesting because Shenmue is one of those projects that I feel like people never give up. Like, they didn't show Shenmue 3 and then it became vaporware, and I don't think anybody's promised anybody Shenmue 3.
It was promised at the end of Shenmue 2.
Okay.
But then Shenmue 2 didn't do that well.
Mm-hmm.
And because it didn't do that well, Sega went, well, that was $68 some odd million down the drain, or 70 something million down the drain. We're not doing that again.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like I'm trying to think of other franchises that gamers have held a torch for longer. Maybe Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah,
which
Duke
is probably
Nukem Forever was
not a good. Well, but see, the thing is that Duke Nukem Forever, like that's the thing. Duke Nukem Forever was in development.
Yeah,
like the fact that Shenmue 3.
It was just never in development.
It was never in development, and that people have still been, even the Final Fantasy VII Remake, is Square made the mistake of showing us that opening cutscene, right?
Yeah, that the remastered trailer to show the power of the PS3, but without ever actually intending to actually.
And then immediately came out to say, no, we're not actually doing that. Yeah.
They shot themselves in the foot with that. Had they never done that, they never would have had that problem.
I feel like they should have just gone ahead and started creation of that game a long time ago.
I agree with you.
But anyway, it's a little weird. It's a little funky. I don't want it to become a thing. I don't want it to be like a thing that they do every year.
Well, it's also weird to me because it's like you have Sony who's like, we believe in this game enough to bring it up on our stage and tell you why you should go fund it on Kickstarter, but we don't believe in it enough to fucking actually do anything to make sure it gets made.
Right. Yeah.
It shows like a weird thing with, which it's also come out with. Sony's been a little weird about it because like one person that was interviewed said that they are financially a funder for this game, like they are providing financial support.
Right.
Another person said no, they're not providing financial support, but they are providing like actual like manpower to help get it made, like actual like teams.
Technical support.
Yeah, technical teams and stuff like that, because it's going to be made on Unreal 4.
Okay.
And then another person said no, they're not doing anything. Like, and so it's like they have three different avenues that the reason that they did is because they really think that the game should be made, and so they decided to give it some free press essentially. But it's like there's like three completely different things, and when you go ask in the interviews that I've read, because I've read multiple interviews from different websites where someone has asked, so you wanted $2 million, you got your $2 million,
right?
You said you want this game to be on the same size as the first Shenmue, which cost you $40 some odd million to make.
Sure.
Yes, games there are things you can do to cut that cost down, but not down to $2 million. Where's the rest of that money come from? And they're like, we can't talk about that. And they're like, okay, are you going to have other funding? We can't talk about that. All we can say is that the more money that's given to us in Kickstarter, the better we can make the game.
There's probably some kind of matching or some kind of contract they have with Sony. I mean, that's the impression that I get from this. And
it's just like they're being very, which is as opposed. It's weird because it got to the point in one interview, someone kind of asked a different question, and someone stepped into the room and said, if you ask another question about funding from places other than Kickstarter, we are ending this interview.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And it was pretty much one of those things where it was like, okay, they're really like hardcore fighting answering this question, which as opposed to something like you mentioned earlier, Ikagi's Bloodstained,
right.
He basically said, hey, your funding is not going to fund a large portion of the game, though the money you give us will help.
Right.
We've already got backing that have told us we'll get X amount of money if we can meet this funding. We're not telling you where it's from, but we're telling you the money's there.
I after hearing all of that, I would be more than willing to bet it's Sony.
Yeah.
And I'd be willing to bet that Sony doesn't want to be that they don't want to directly reference that, like they're buying the Shenmue property off of them. In fact, there may even be something about licensing and Sega and that kind of thing that may restrict them from talking about that.
Yeah.
I also think that if Sony comes off at their press conference and pimps out somebody's Kickstarter, they're not going to let Shenmue 3 come out and be bad.
Yeah.
Or at least they're not going to let it be broken or fucked up or the Kickstarter fail.
Yeah. It's like you have really there's three ways this could go. One, the Kickstarter didn't get backed,
right?
Or didn't meet its funding and it wouldn't come out, which that didn't happen, obviously.
Yeah.
Two, it did meet its funding and then never comes out because they just used up all the money and couldn't finish it, and either have to go fund some other way and piss people off, or three, it does come out and it's great. It's a good game or it's a bad game, one of those two.
Right.
And here's the thing: I played the first Shenmue, I loved it. I never played the second one. I look forward to this when it comes out. But I'm not touching that Kickstarter. Like, that's kind of like, there's too many things to me as someone who has backed multiple Kickstarters and has actually kind of seen red flags and kind of known what to look for. There's too many little things that just kind of send up tiny red flags.
Yeah.
They've made me kind of go, you need to be a little bit more
You
open.
need to know more.
I need to know more.
On a Kickstarter, you are a potential investor, And sometimes if their people are too cagey about exactly what their plan is, you don't want to invest.
Yeah.
Nor would a real-life angel investor, right?
Yeah,
So,
so that's kind of where I'm just like, and I'm sure there's going to be people in the comments being like, "Fuck you, John. We're getting it made.
Whatever.
Your opinion doesn't matter," and that's fine. And here's the thing. I'm looking forward to the game. I can't wait for it to come out. I want to play a Shenmue 3.
You know what the nice thing about Kickstarter is that in a lot of cases it's a gamble on a discount, right? Because the thing is that if Shenmue 3 gets made and comes out and it's great, you can still totally buy it. You don't have to Kickstart it.
Exactly.
So that's where I come in to. There's a very few things in this world that I'm willing to kickstart because I want to just buy them when they come out.
No, I agree completely.
All right. Well, next up, Sony. I gotta give you the award of because you did something that I consider to be a real dick move. First off, you spent time at E3 showing a game off that's going to be out next week. And by the time this podcast goes up in a few days, Batman Arkham Knight. And the beginning of this trailer, I have absolutely no problem with.
Oh, with them cremating Joker's body.
Yep, that was great. It was nifty. Like, it kept me guessing. And then when I saw, you see the flower and you see his face, and it's great. It looked really good. I like it.
Yeah.
It really puts a nail in the coffin, so to speak, of whether that character. Well, I don't know. They could still do a bunch of shit, but whatever.
No, he's dead.
Okay.
There's no this was done specifically to say no, he's dead, and we've even cremated his body.
Yeah, I still don't really believe it, but whatever. If he shows up before the game is over, I'm not going to fall out of my chair and support.
Oh, okay.
But after this, like I'm assuming this is the beginning of the game. This cutscene is too well rendered and too slickly produced to not be in the video game somewhere.
Yeah.
And I assume that this is when you hit the start button what you're going to see. And that's kind of why I want to give them a fuck you, is because after this, it seems like they're going to they go to this scene where it's a first person. And it's
there's also some monologue with Commissioner Gordon.
Right. It's a first person. It's a cop in a diner, and there's something that's happening, and then like there's another thing, and I'm not going to go to the specifics of it, but it seems like the first 5 to 6 minutes of Batman Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
If this is entirely the first 5 to 6 minutes of Batman Arkham Knight, why are you showing me this? Like, I would rather have played this and experienced it, and it would be different if it was something. I really hate the fact that they put this in their E3 conference.
Yeah.
Because it's a week away and whatever. If it was world exclusive, GameSpot, like here's the first 5 minutes of Arkham
You can ignore that.
Then I could be like, no. But the fact that they slipped it in, and I didn't even know what it was until the Joker's face came out. Like, shit, man. Come on. I can't think of a time when I've seen anybody do this before in a conference. Like, just straight up kind of show you something that and it would be different if the game was 4 months away, 5 months away, 6 months away. But it's like it was 8 days away when that conference happened. It's 7 days and midnight, So I don't appreciate it, Sony, and all the goodwill that you brought up until this point. It's kind of, fuck you, goddamn. Anyway, from there we moved on to a bunch of jibba jabba about Morpheus.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like Sony dropped the ball a little bit on this.
A little bit.
Oculus had a whole thing where they were showing off stuff. Microsoft's HoloLens demo, in a lot of ways, was, for a lot of people, their experience of the show.
Yeah.
Like, I read editorials where people are like, nothing was better than that HoloLens demo.
Yeah.
And I even myself, if HoloLens works like that, that's fucking impressive as shit.
Yeah.
They kind of just talked a lot about Morpheus and then showed off a bunch of trailers in the background of a variety of games, which I don't even think I want to get into. I don't think I want to go over each one of them in turn.
Well, there was one that I actually I saw a video of on another website that I thought was kind of funny. It's this: if you watched it, you see it looks like a soccer goal and you're headbutting a soccer ball that's coming at your head, and it's like that's the first stage, and then like the next stage is that you have to hit a soccer ball with your head into an object, and then as it keeps going a little bit further, you realize your character is in a prison and his arms are tied around his back, and the only way he can attack is by hitting a soccer ball with his head, so that he has to break out of the prison by hitting soccer balls with his head, and that's the whole point of the game. It's this stupid little indie game that's being made for the Oculus that's like, that is so stupid, I want to play it.
Yeah, I'll say that Riggs doesn't really excite me all that much. It's a multiplayer mech shooter. I mean, like, I don't know if Depth is going to be an actual, or The Deep is going to be an actual game. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like they didn't focus enough on any gameplay for any one
they didn't really
game.
show us anything.
And they didn't talk about the headset. He didn't even bring it out and put it on and show us, like, here's
They just showed pictures of people wearing it and pictures of people simulating wearing it.
Yeah. And I feel that, like, in a previous year, that would have been one thing. But between Oculus's full-on conference and the HoloLens, they just needed to step it up a little bit more.
Now, I have heard Sony has a lot of that stuff at their booth. It is playable. People can get their hands on it,
Sure.
and that's great. But for the conference, I felt like that was a big ball drop.
Yeah, yeah. Especially because Microsoft did have something.
Yeah.
Next up, we got into the
some of the apps. They talked about some of the apps, but then they talked about something that
I want you to talk about this.
this is actually the thing I am like really, really. This is a game changer for me.
more exciting than Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, this was their mic drop for me personally.
Right.
As they announced what's called PlayStation View, and it's essentially a cable service.
Yep.
That's being offered through your PlayStation. Now, unfortunately, it's only offered in like 5 cities at the moment, and it's going to be releasing per city, like they'll release it in further cities as time goes on.
Right.
Because I think they have to get rights to have a cable service in that area.
Well, because the big thing is that they're offering a la carte.
Yeah, and the big thing is that it's you choose what channels you want, and you only pay for those channels.
Right.
So in other words, if you only want HBO and TLC and I don't know, the Oxygen Network.
Okay.
Guess if you only want those 3 channels, you don't want any other channels.
Yeah.
You get them.
Okay.
You only pay for those 3 channels.
Yeah, which, I mean, I feel like the cord cutter folks have been waiting for a long time.
Yeah.
A long time for a service like this.
My immediate reaction was, the only reason I have cable is wrestling.
Yeah.
Because wrestling appears on 3 different networks. It appears on USA Network. It appears on Destination America.
Right.
And then it appears on El Rey. Now, the shows that appear on Destination America and El Rey, I can't get those anywhere else.
Right.
The one that appears on USA Network, there is a edited version that appears on Hulu. I don't want the edited version. I want the full uncensored thing that I can watch live.
Right.
Or watch DVR'd if I need to. So because I can't watch the full uncensored in those other shows, I still have cable.
Yeah.
With the exception of the El Rey Network, those other 2 networks are part of this deal. And I would not be surprised if by the time, if it actually came out, if they actually did open up here a market in Austin or in Texas, that they didn't get El Rey by that point. Because I know that Rodriguez wants that fucking network on everything.
Right.
But seriously, I would drop cable TV in a heartbeat for that, and then hopefully by that point Google Fiber's around, and then my life will be great.
This is more exciting than any of the TV announcements that they had at Microsoft over the last couple of years. I really do think that if they can get this launched, Sony has enough muscle to be able to maybe strong arm their way. Like they don't have to. The thing is that if places like USA and some of the networks are making deals with Sony to offer this directly to them, then I think that in and of itself, regardless of whether Sony has come to a certain place or another, is a great signal that we are entering the final days of non-a la carte cable.
Yeah.
That between HBO leaving and doing their own thing, between Netflix and Hulu and stuff like this, that we are now getting to the point where we're not going to have, the cable's not going to be able to get all like, well, then we'll just drop you from our package, because they can be like, well, go fuck yourself. People want USA more than they want Time Warner cable.
Yeah.
Right?
And the other great thing I think is about it is they did state that if you have PlayStation Plus, you get extra discounts on top of your subscriptions.
You could maybe even convince me to get television again if I could get it a la carte.
Yeah. So I mean that's fucking awesome. I literally when I saw that I was like, when will it be available in my area? And I've already signed up to get emails to get notified once it's available here.
And are they doing? Is that just? That's through all the PlayStation, PS3 and PS4.
I think it's through all PlayStation products.
Okay.
I don't know for sure though.
Okay.
I know it's offered through an app on the PlayStation 4.
Okay.
But I want to say that there might be a PS Vita app, so you don't even have to be like it. Like, if it's offered in town, you can literally be connected to any network. You don't have to be, like, connected to a specific connection or anything like that to access it.
Okay. Well, next up, we got to start wrapping. We got to start heading towards the end here. We're getting pretty long in the tooth. Next up, this was I think that I realized this was going to happen when I watched the Microsoft show.
Yeah.
But shocker, man! It looks like Call of Duty is no longer the big Microsoft thing. It's Sony's this year.
And I think that's actually pretty awesome.
Because Black Ops 3, and they had a relatively... they had two parts of it. They had well, first of all, Mark Lamia, I think is Mark Lamia from Treyarch, came out, and he broed it up, man.
He broed that up, man.
He broed this presentation up. I just did a random freeze frame on my YouTube thing, and his face is like super douchey already. Like, go back and listen to his presentation and imagine the end of everything is punctuated with "bro." Then it fits absolutely perfectly. But they had two parts. It seems like the pendulum has swung back to the point, John, where this year seems like there's a lot of co-op going on.
Yeah.
This was 4-player co-op in Black Ops 3. I think that... I'm interested in Black Ops 3. I'm a little sad that they aren't doing the whole branching campaign thing, I don't think, in this one. But here, basically, we got our guys, and they're in like a drop ship, and there's this dude. He's got the rebar through him, which, his cyber armor is obviously not that good if rebar just, like, goes through him. And
they've got magical abilities.
Yep, our guy falls down. I know that, John, your brain is just fucking off and glazing over right now.
Yeah,
but
probably.
I like the idea of pushing Black Ops 3 further out in the future than even Advanced Warfare or Black Ops 2. Because essentially, you said it, when we get to the actual action part, there's machine guns and stuff, and then there's the magic powers that you have.
It's like nanobots.
Yeah, where you get to like shoot out a cloud of nanobots, and it goes and it sets somebody on fire, or electrocutes them, or it gives you various superpowers. I'm going to say this right now. Call of Duty really raised the bar last year, and I'm not interested in playing a game that doesn't have Kevin Spacey in it anymore. All right?
Okay.
Kevin Spacey, or go fuck yourself. No, when they actually get to the part where it's 4 people and they're fighting stuff, they're fighting like big walking mech tanks, and then dudes, and it's obviously it's all very chaotic. It's hard to kind of make out precisely what's going on, as there's a lot of, because they do this thing where they've got 4 players and they squeeze down the player that we're watching screen small enough so that we can see the other 4 players below them, which in my opinion helps nobody. Like, I can't actually see what's going on with player 2, 3, or 4, and I'd rather just be seeing player 1 full screen.
Well, I'm actually wondering if at some point they were supposed to switch and just kind of forgot.
No, they do.
Oh, they do actually switch it?
between the different characters.
Okay.
But it would have been just as easy. I mean, like, I'm not getting a good... Like, I can't glance at player 2, 3, and 4 and get an idea of what's going on in relationship to player 1.
Okay.
So we just switch over to player 2.
I was glazed over earlier.
At one point, the guy makes a dude barf. That was pretty cool. It looks like they've got all the same, like, movement like stuff from Advanced Warfare, where you can kind of sprint forward and you can kind of juke to one side or another. But for the most part, I mean, it looks a lot like Call of Duty. It looks like Call of Duty. I think that's one of the things that is a problem these days when you talk about Call of Duty, John.
Yeah.
Is that all I can really say about Call of Duty is, wow, it looks an awful lot like Call of Duty, folks, which isn't really helpful to anybody. From there, they go through this whole thing. There isn't anything big, like there is no Kevin Spacey. There is no giant like mech drop. There's some destruction, but at this point, it's all very pedestrian. So then they move into the multiplayer, where they talk about, where they have a beautiful little montage of people doing so much better in multiplayer
than any of us ever have in our entire lives.
Right. Running along the wall, shooting a person, and they do the thing where the person gets shot. The person that's playing gets killed, and then move over to the next person. I gotta say though, man, like Call of Duty, like between Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 2, and then Black Ops 3, they're really doubling down on the future.
Yeah.
Especially we consider. I don't know if they're so pissed about Titanfall and those guys leaving. They're just like, oh, you want future FPSs? Here's a bunch of future FPSs.
Well, I think it's more just you got to think about when people are developing these. It's like where do you go? I mean, they've already done World War II to death,
Yep.
pretty much, and they can't really, what other war? There aren't really any other wars that they can spend an entire game in.
Sure, there are.
I mean, there are, but would you want to? Is kind of the question.
I would. I want more Vietnam games.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that.
And I think that they had that one level in Black Ops that was in Vietnam, or I think, and then one level in Black Ops 1 that was Vietnam. But I think that Vietnam was actually a pretty interesting. Like we've been stuck in cityscapes for a long time, and I'd like to see them do more outdoor stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, there's other wars out there that you could totally work with. Which, but it's not to say that I'm a big fan of futuristic stuff. So
there's a place for it.
Yeah, it looks fine. I'm totally willing to play Black Ops 3. I wonder how their core audience that likes the realistic warfare is going to feel about this. Just my arm turns into a minigun bullshit that they're doing this time around.
And they announced that the PlayStation is getting exclusive content.
Yeah, it'll probably be I don't know if specific, but like what they usually did, they used to do
timed exclusive
maps.
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
The reason they did the timed exclusive maps with the Xbox 360 is because more people played the game on the Xbox 360 than on the PS3.
Yep.
And more people own a PS4 in the United States than people own an Xbox One.
Yep.
So they went, oh, well, hey, Sony, remember how we were giving all these exclusives to Microsoft? They're kind of not making as many sales as you. How would you like to be the one to get the exclusives this time?
Sure.
And Sony probably went, yeah, sure.
I think what's actually really interesting about this, though, is the fact that that presentation, that stage show of Black Ops 3, was less impressive than last year's Advanced Warfare with the whole guy with his arm in the thing and all that stuff. So from there, we moved on to a montage. They actually just showed a picture of Solid Snake, which made me sad because Metal Gear, I'm having to assume that it's part of the Konami bullshit, wasn't at any of these things. At least, not that I can tell. I mean, I'm not done with the PC conference, but that'd be weird if it showed up at the PC conference. So they have their montage. They're showing a bunch of stuff. Not a whole lot different here than what we've already seen. I think there's a God of War remastered in there.
Yeah, like I said, they showed like
Deus Ex.
They showed a clip from Mad Max again.
Yeah. And this montage actually goes on for a while. And then finally, they roll into the final 3 games of the thing. The first one is such a teasy piece of shit. Because they come out, they bring up the Star Wars music, they start talking about Star Wars, and they're like, oh shit, Star Wars. It's Disney Infinity 3.0, Star Wars.
With exclusive Star Wars toys.
Hello, John Vignacchi. And hey, don't get me wrong, like, I think the Disney Infinity 3.0 actually looks really fun.
Yeah.
I liked playing Disney Infinity 2.0. And so I kind of lost track by this point of what all they were saying was exclusive, and some things were timed exclusives.
There's an exclusive Boba Fett figure that only will come out for the PS4, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
That'll only be...
I listened to that again. I wasn't entirely sure that it was only...
Or at least that's the only way you can get it is with that PS4 set.
Yeah.
And then there's a timed exclusive set that comes with like Luke and Leia from the original A New Hope.
Okay. Yeah. So they talked an awful lot about that, and they showed a trailer. I really hope they can get their frame rate up a little bit, but I like this stuff. I really enjoy Disney Infinity 2.0, and I will play the shit out of Disney Infinity 3.0.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I always thought that the figures were not actually console exclusive. What's console exclusive is just the pad.
Yes.
And so the fact that they're saying, oh, well, this is console exclusive, doesn't mean you can't ever get it. It just means you can't get it unless you know someone who's willing to trade you.
Oh. Well,
because they said that the Boba Fett figure is only able to be gotten in that one set that is only being sold for the PS4.
Oh, okay. Well, so technically you could just buy that set even if you own an Xbox One and then just use the figure somewhere else.
Yeah, if you really wanted to.
Maybe. I don't know. This is way too many specifics for a game that I'm pretty sure that everybody that's listening, like, I don't think I'm converting anybody to yes or no Disney Infinity.
And again, I'm sure people will be like, no, John, you misunderstood the whole goddamn thing.
No, well, you know what? It doesn't really matter because I didn't really understand. Like, this is one of those things where this is like old E3 where they start double talking and they're like, and here's this exclusive and this timed exclusive, and like they're so covering their ass with those the little
loopholes.
Yeah, that I start to just be like, okay, I don't care. But then we actually got another look at Star Wars Battlefront.
Yes.
3, or is it just called Star Wars Battlefront?
Yeah, it's just Battlefront.
And so this was actually really interesting because this is what I was talking about when we were doing the EA conference. Is they talked about Battlefront missions, and Battlefront missions can be played offline or online, and they have battles, hero battles, trials, and survival.
Okay.
Battles, I assume, is a bot match. Hero battles, I assume, is a bot match where you get to be a Jedi. Trials are apparently like some kind of stipulation. Like their whole description of it was to help you become better at the game. Like, which I assume is going to be either time, or you got to kill this many enemies, or you got to use this particular weapon.
Yeah.
Just a series of challenges.
Yeah.
But then this last one, the part that they actually showed this trailer for, is for survival, and it's too bad, John, that that Microsoft and Gears have the words Horde mode like trademarked.
Yeah.
Or if they don't, that everybody's so afraid of calling it Horde mode, because that's what this is.
Yeah.
I was watching it again really closely, and it's Horde mode. You can play it single player or co-op. You got two guys that are on like what I assume is Tatooine, and you got a big Admiral Akbar hologram, and basically
That's a trap.
if you look forward, you can see that there's an indicator at the top right that says what number of wave you're on, how many enemies are coming. There's a variety of different like they're like, we're going to capture this point, and then they say, oh, it's great, here's some reinforcements, and they throw you some reinforcements. At one point, some walkers come out. They've got like orbital strikes. They've got like all kinds of stuff. And I think I think it looks really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good counterpoint to the Hoth one, because this is just like you and a few friends like fighting against hordes and hordes of stormtroopers. And who doesn't like shooting a bunch of stormtroopers, honestly?
Especially because they can't shoot back.
Exactly.
That's why I don't know why anyone would play as a stormtrooper in these games, because they can't hit anything.
That's right. You put your reticle over somebody, and when you shoot, it just moves it to the right a little bit. Like, hey, wait a minute.
Well, we got to make it canonical. We got to make it,
Yeah. So this is, I mean, that's really interesting, and I think it's a good way to extend a little bit, because for people who like Star Wars but don't want to play it online, essentially you can have like some bot matches or just co-op. And that's pretty much it.
Sort of.
Except for maybe one other thing. There might be one last thing left to go.
That had to get restarted. Because of a glitch, apparently.
Because of a glitch. Uncharted 4. In some ways, John, I don't have that much to say about this, because it just looks an awful lot like an Uncharted game.
Yeah.
I actually had a lot to say about the last time that they showed Uncharted, because they had all that open world kind of stealthy kind of element stuff to it. This is much more of like, for anybody that remembers in Uncharted 2, where you're like, there'll be a few like on rails sections where you don't have that many different ways to go. This seems an awful lot like that. Okay, first up, fucking beautiful.
Yeah, game looks amazing.
I'm surprised that this market full of people aren't a little bit more perturbed at a bunch of white men with guns strapped to them walking out into it, but whatever. I like the fact that this demo starts way up high above an area, and that it actually seems to take a certain amount of time to get down to that particular area.
Well, it's like, I like the fact that it shows you a place.
Yeah.
And it's very clear you need to go to that place.
Yeah.
And you get to go to that place, and then you get to go to some other places that are further away.
Yep. Once again, all the like frame blending animation stuff seems to be here, and it looks like it's really good. Like the reactions. Oh, you know what? Have we had? No, I don't think we have. Sully hasn't been in any of the previous material, right? The first one was him standing up.
This is the first time Sully's actually like you've heard him talk.
I think we heard him talk. Oh no, yeah, no.
In that first trailer.
Yep, in the first trailer, you totally heard him talk.
But you don't actually hear him. Like you don't actually see him.
Right. Here, yeah, but the implication is pretty heavy that he's in there, because Drake says, like, well, you ready? And he's like, all right, one last time, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the other way around. But this is like pure Uncharted.
Yeah.
It's, what this reminds me an awful lot of is, you remember in Uncharted 2, there was a sequence in a hotel where a helicopter was following you around shooting at you?
Yes, I do.
This reminds me of that.
This is very much like that.
Because you've got this truck, and it is fucking some shit up, and boy, it just won't leave Nathan Sully alone. Like,
no, it's like it comes out like you think you're moved on past it.
Yep.
You start to move forward.
Yep.
And then like, nope, fuck you, it's there.
And then it comes through the wall like a goddamn Kool-Aid man. Oh yeah, it's fucking Murder Truck, man. Murder Truck is back.
It's better than ever.
Yep. So I still like it. They showed this in the previous one. I like this where Nathan punches a guy out and it pops his gun up and then he catches it in midair.
I also
Slick as
really
hell.
liked the scene. It was a little bit before there where he runs and he punches a guy and the impact from the punch makes the guy fly back into the wall and it actually damages the wall.
Yep. Yep.
Which I really liked that.
I think, you know what? I think that between The Last of Us and the Uncharted franchise, Naughty Dog has gotten really, really good at this kind of running and gunning and fluid motion. This is when I was talking about Mass Effect, and I was talking about how I want Mass Effect to be a little bit more fluid.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Mass Effect be a little bit more, not quite as loose as Uncharted, but a little bit more loosened up than Uncharted. Or like Uncharted, because this is just so fluid. You're just jumping, and then they're in a Jeep, and then they get in a Jeep and they start driving. And I don't think this is the first time in the franchise we've had a driving. Is it driving? I know there's been turret sequences.
I think there's one other segment that I think 3 might have. I don't remember. I'm going to be honest. I didn't finish all the way through 3, and I don't remember.
I can't tell. You guys in the comments tell me because it's been a long time since I've played it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you.
I'm looking forward to replaying the entire franchise when the collection comes out for the PS4.
Oh, yeah.
I'll buy that so that I can play it on my PS4.
What I do like about this particular sequence, because from there it goes, they get into a Jeep and they're going down the hill kind of towards where they were going, and Murder Truck is just hot on their heels. As it seems like there's a bunch of different ways that you can go in this area. Like there's some little like side roads that you can kind of go through, and you can go, to one side or the other, just enough to kind of give you the illusion that you're doing something for realsies.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
It does go on for quite a while as they roll down.
Yeah, and there's even like a segment where like, oh, we lost it, and there's no way it could get past, catch up to us. It's absolutely it's in front of us now.
Right. There's also a part where somehow they end up driving on top of a bunch of roofs. They kind of just bust through and are driving over roofs. As always, Nathan Drake, Nolan North, his little Nathan Drake isms are spot on. He's the same lovable rogue that we've seen before. And then we get to the end, and I think the guy that they're going after is Drake's brother from the other part.
So.
And they're following him. And then the only real thing that I think was really any different here than previously was that at the very end of this, they're kind of driving beside a highway, and Drake uses his grappling hook that we saw in the last gameplay segment to basically grab onto the top of a crane and jump out of the Jeep that he's in. I was going to say leaving poor Sully to his death, but then I saw that Sully totally stopped the Jeep.
Yeah, he grabbed the wheel.
So, looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. Like, I can't wait to play this game.
Yep. I'm trying to think. I mean, is there anything... I don't know that there's anything else I can say outside of like...
Yeah, it looks like Uncharted, and it looks fucking phenomenal.
Yep.
Like Uncharted has since the beginning.
The only thing is I hope that I didn't care as much for I wasn't as emotionally invested in 3.
No, I wasn't either.
I hope that they get back to that in 4 well.
I'm going to be honest, like, the thing that turned me off about 3 was that, like, we're going to learn Nathan Drake's origin. It's like, I don't need his origin.
Yep.
You didn't need to tell me that.
Yep.
There was no reason to tell... God damn it, why are you telling me that?
I mean, it was kind of like, I liked I just think that 1 was an adventure story romance, 2 was like a love story adventure, and 3 was more about Sully, and it just... I love Sully, but it just wasn't as interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for Sony, and that's it for our full day 0 coverage. We still
About time.
tomorrow have to do Nintendo and Square, and then the PC conference, and then we got to wrap up anything else we've already got.
Oh God.
Yeah, I know.
I haven't even watched the PC conference. I'm halfway tempted to just be like, I'm not gonna watch it. I'm just gonna let you tell me what was important because that's like 2.5 hours long.
Honestly, I can tell you right now that you probably don't need to watch it. I'm gonna go back and notate it, but like a little sneak preview, folks. The first game that the PC conference trots out is Killing Floor 2. It's a weird one to lead with. Anyway, so thanks everybody for listening to day 1. I know this has been grueling for pretty much everybody involved. Thank you, John. And I'll see you tomorrow or the day after to record those other ones. E3, we'll see you. Woo!
Long ago, we looked upon a foreboding sky. The memory of the star that threatened all burns eternal in our hearts. In its wake came an age of silence.